I'm Scott Smith with Smith Ball Baez and Prather, Florida Injury Lawyers. As you have likely seen and heard, law firm advertising is at an all-time high. Attorney ads seem to be part of every radio and TV commercial segment. Some firms are even using paid actors and actresses to speak for them. At Smith Ball Baez and Prather, we know that the decision to hire a law firm should never be based on advertisements alone. It is our past results and many positive 5-star reviews that we encourage you to read at smithball.com to learn more about our law firm. We have board-certified lawyers. We have lawyers listed in the best lawyers in America and in super lawyers. But most importantly, we have experienced lawyers located right here in Palm Beach County and the Treasure Coast that are ready to be your advocate and your voice, and fully prepared to start fighting for your legal rights today. Our purpose, legal power. Our mission, huge results. If you've been injured, the lawyers at Smith Ball Baez and Prather will help. Call us at 500-HELP, 500-HELP. With Smith Ball Baez and Prather, help is just a local phone call away. Offices Palm Beach Gardens, Boca Raton, and Port St. Lucie.
ESPN West Palm is highlighting the best performance of the week, presented by Baptist Health Orthopedic Care. Every week, a different team will be featured across ESPN 106.3 and ESPN West Palm Play. The winning performance receives $500, courtesy of Baptist Health Orthopedic Care. Do you know a team, player, or school with a killer performance? Nominate them by emailing highschool@espnwestpalm.com. Baptist Health Orthopedic Care. Go where the pros go.
Now, it's time for a little R&R.
All into the bucket, lays it up and in.
Ball game, Rizzo! Live in the Anajar and Levine Accident Attorney Studios, this is Russo and Rizzo on ESPN 106.3.
This team is going to be tough when they finally get it together.
Sit back and relax. Let Russo and Rizzo take you home.
Oh, mercy!
Light him up, Colin!
Week 11 was a feisty one on the NFL side of things. A Monday edition of Russo and Rizzo on ESPN 106.3. Hi, everybody. Colin Russo here. Joined alongside me, Mike Rizzo with Christian Cat, of course, as always, behind the glass, helping us out, making sure we go over the air over here at the City Play Studios in downtown West Palm Beach. Got you 4 to 6 today. Packed program today. Going to hear from Jonathan Zaslow of the College Football Tour a little later on. Maybe hear a little bit from Steve Pollard Sr., the Good Karma Brands president, Palm Beach Sports Commission Hall of Famer. Break down what happened over the weekend in terms of youth basketball. I don't want to talk about it at the moment. We'll save that for Steve. But a lot of NFL to do, a lot of fun to have on this November edition of Russo and Rizzo on a Monday here. Mike, from what we saw yesterday, both of our teams stink. So let's get that out of the way.
Right.
Browns and Jags, terrible. Goodbye. Forget.
We're all done. Don't ask.
Now, yesterday got me thinking about teams that have sort of started to figure it out. Lions bellied up the whole operation. They're starting to figure it out. Chargers, they were terrible. They were a complete mess. They bellied up. They're starting to figure it out. Browns and Jags still trying to figure that part out. But from what we saw over the weekend, we know the Lions are great. Another team that, might be teetering on better than we thought might be that LA Charger team. And you could tell the Charger curse was trying to creep its way back.
It was.
With them trying to blow that 21-point lead in that second half. It was like the Chargers it was just tugging on them at the back of their shirt. But they showed you a little something by getting some crucial fourth quarter stops, and were able to go right down the field to win the game with Justin Herbert. It's almost like they're turning over a new leaf. The Chargers' dark cloud is starting to evaporate a little bit. I wasn't sold on them because they had 5 wins against teams with 7+ losses coming into the week. And off of that alone, I know the Bengals are the Bengals, and they have found ways to lose all year. But that was an impressive victory nonetheless.
It was. And I'm a huge fan of Justin Herbert. We talked to Mike Tannenbaum. We talked to Fat Jack, and they nonetheless kind of said, Herbert's statistics aren't there, but he's certainly winning football games, and that's all that matters. Herbert has thrown for 4,000 passing yards multiple times in his career.
And had nothing to show for it.
And now, his statistics are down, and they're 7-3. So I think he's a winning quarterback, and I also think there's something to be said about J.K. Dobbins in that running game. Colin, going into this season, I go, wait a minute here. No more Eckler. They don't really have a running back that's able to stay healthy. They have J.K. Dobbins and Gus Edwards. Jim Harbaugh flipped with his brother John Harbaugh for his running back room. But I'll tell you what, J.K. Dobbins has been, in my opinion, one of the most improved players in the NFL this year.
He's also been healthy.
And Colin, he has a great offensive line. He's doing it behind. The Chargers did exactly the opposite of what the Bears did. The Bears added a bunch of weapons and a flashy quarterback. And I understand, Colin, they needed a quarterback. I'm not saying they shouldn't have taken Williams or anything. But instead of going wide receiver, like an Odunze, or trading up for one of the prized wide receivers, they went with an offensive lineman, and they reshuffled that offensive line, and it's paying dividends. And now Jim Harbaugh looks like a genius at 7-3 and being 4-1 at home. And how about Ladd McConkey? I'll be the first to say it. I didn't believe in Ladd McConkey. I go, how is this guy going to play wide receiver in the NFL? He's undersized. Said similar stuff about his other Georgia counterpart, Brock Bowers. That's neither here nor there. Colin, I've been very impressed with this team, and even defensively as well. They've come a long way, and I think it's a lot to do with the head coach and the change of the culture.
Yeah, it's a good point you brought up about the Bears and how they kind of did the flipped way. If you look at the Charger or look at the Bears from that perspective, they sort of put Lamborghini rims on a Jeep Cherokee 2006 that doesn't even start. And while on the flip side of things, the Chargers took their Toyota Camry and they started to, bring it up from the inside instead of, decking it out with the jewelry. And they got away from the flash of the receivers and the running backs and sort of the premier paid positions, the fantasy football players, if you will. And they built up inside out. They established the defensive line, the linebackers. They established that offensive line, and they could run the ball.
They fixed the engine. That's exactly what they did.
Fixed the tires versus the engine.
Yep. And I don't want to say it is a surprise. I was about to say, Kyle, it's not a surprise to me, but I think it's a surprise to a lot of us. And can you imagine if the Kansas City Chiefs weren't in their division? They'd have a home playoff game the way they're playing. Now, we still got a lot of football to play. But if they didn't have the Kansas City Chiefs, arguably the best team in the NFL, I know that they lost to the Bills. If they didn't have the Chiefs in there, they could have a home playoff game. There's something to be said about that.
Yeah, I mean, maybe. They're in a position now where they've had a fairly light schedule so far and an easy schedule. They've taken advantage in all the right ways. And finally, yesterday, instead of winning ugly 18-10, winning 15-9, something that makes you want to pull your hair out watching. Instead, they sort of shifted here, and they took advantage of a very lackluster pass defense that the Bengals have, and instead of playing into their style of play, they looked to expose the Bengals, and They played and they game planned in order to expose the Bengals pass defense. And that's not something I was necessarily convinced that the Chargers do. I feel like the Chargers just always played their brand of football, whoever they were playing, and it didn't really matter, and they were going to do what they do, and either they win or lose at the end of the day. Instead, you actually saw something that the great teams in the NFL do, and they worked tirelessly to exploit the things that the Bengals don't do well. Mm-hmm. They work tirelessly to exploit that pass defense with Herbert using his strong arm that he rarely uses down the field. Herbert with his legs. Of course, they couldn't keep up with him in terms of any QB spy. With his legs, he was killing them. And then defensively, they made sure to, bottle up as best they can and keep those receivers in front of them, double up Jamar Chase, get him frustrated. Allow T. Higgins to have these one-on-one opportunities, but it's not going to kill you. It's a bend, don't break type of game with the amount of offensive pieces they have. I give the Chargers a lot of credit. They showed me a whole lot, despite I know the Bengals are sitting there at 4-6. It's not necessarily a top-tier team, but everybody knows that team can beat you on any given day because of that prolific offense and how well Burrow is playing.
Right.
I think it's just Bengals are another example. They want to gloss up the rims, get fresh new tires, but they don't realize the engine of the car doesn't even start. How are you supposed to drive the car with your brand new tires and your tinted windows when you don't even have a proper engine? It needs a new transmission. The brakes don't work. There's a whole bunch of actual inner issues within the Bengals, the Bears, some of these teams that, alleviate a ton of resources into the wrong spots, when in reality, it's the pieces of the engine that really make the car run.
And Colin, the engine I'm thinking of is offensive line and defensive line. I could argue the Bengals kind of have said, who cares about the offensive line since they drafted Joe Burrow. I could kind of say the Bengals as an organization, they've always focused on the flashy players and the offensive players. That's a take as old as time, is that the Bengals draft offense and the Steelers draft defense within that division. So I'm not shocked that the Bengals are having the year that they are, because if you rewind a couple of months back to when Jamar Chase was frustrated, rewind a couple of months back to when T. Higgins was frustrated. I believe Higgins is on like a 1-year prove-it contract.
Yeah, he's probably going to be out.
So, and is Jamar Chase trying to force himself out after, I don't want to say acting a fool. Acting the fool is the wrong word to say, but
it's a lot more of the same with him.
Lashing out, right? Lashing out in the locker room, saying, "Oh, you got to ask Coach Taylor those questions." I did this and that. It's a mess in Cincy, and the problem is they're wasting Joe Burrow time, right? They're wasting a prime year in Joe Burrow's career, where the last couple of games it's been 300 yards and 3+ touchdowns.
And he's played very, very well.
He's played unreal.
He was great in the pocket yesterday. His pocket awareness, his pocket presence, movement within the pocket, utilizing his legs. He was locked in, and there was no doubt about it. You could see it even when he was on the bench. Guy wasn't talking to anybody. He was zoned into that game. It goes to show that the proof is in the pudding. Doesn't matter how good your skill positions are, how good and Chase Brown's a good running back. They have pieces all over that offense on the outsides. But if it's not working defensively or on the inside of things, it's all going to blow up. It doesn't matter how pretty, the windows and the tires are. If the engine doesn't run, the car's not going to go anywhere.
As a younger football fan, I always would, why are they drafting offensive linemen, Dad? Oh, why didn't we get, this receiver? I loved watching it.
People said that about the Lions with Penei Sewell. Why, is he the right move here? Absolutely.
Right. And the one, Colin, in 2006, I was 12 years old and couldn't believe that the Browns drafted Joe Thomas over a couple of the skill players. Turns out Joe Thomas, a Hall of Famer, one of the best Cleveland Browns of all time. So, I am always a fan of if your team has your franchise quarterback, has things figured out at the quarterback position, I'd be completely okay with taking a lineman first round every single year. Now, obviously, you need other pieces in your football team. We could sit here and talk about positional needs like defensive end, lockdown corner, and whatever. But I am always fine with my team taking extra hogs. And it's a physical position, Colin. They get hurt. You're going to need to be deep at that position.
Yeah. That's Mike Rizzo, Colin Russo here, Christian Cap behind the glass, Russo and Rizzo on ESPN 106.3, live from downtown West Palm Beach at the City Place Studios. A statement win for the Chargers a little bit. Trying to get rid of that, bad luck, dark cloud. And you saw it a little bit yesterday. A meltdown averted, essentially, when they were up 24 to 6, something like that, 27-6. And they basically tried everything in their power to blow that game to the Bengals. I thought the Bengals were going to win that game as well, with a chance to go a go-ahead touchdown. And Burrow missed Chase on a streaking route when he hit, I'm going to butcher this guy's name, the Iosivas. They hit him over the middle. Yoshivas. Right when you looked at that, I knew it was Yoshivas.
I am bad with names too, Colin, so don't worry about it.
And he missed Chase streaming down the field. It would have been a go-ahead touchdown. So that was a crucial play there. But if there's something for Jamar Chase to complain about, it's that. It's not necessarily the play call. You scored enough points in the second half against a very, very good defense. But a statement win for the Chargers nonetheless, 34-27. Herbert, of course, nearly 300 yards, 2 touchdowns, and was capable with his legs, over 60 yards rushing. Talk about statement wins, too. One that always popped into my head was the Denver Broncos. Talk about responding in a big way. You want to talk about skids and how dangerous it is with a rookie quarterback? Talk about closing the door on that for Sean Payton and Bo Nix. They had 2 impossible games back-to-back at Baltimore, at Kansas City, a game they should have beat Kansas City, and by the devil's magic, they couldn't. And that Baltimore game where they just got caught. Then they come in and play a relatively good team who's a bit erratic in Atlanta, and they blow the doors off of them. Denver is very much in the mix. That AFC West is a very, very underrated division in the AFC. Might be near the top in terms of what we're looking at in terms of teams performing this year. It's better than the South, it's better than the East, and it's right up there with the North. So that AFC North is going to be pretty much a dogfight between those two teams, and the Chargers beat them the first time. Well, that's going to be a fascinating game. But talk about avoiding the skid. Bo Nix and company avoiding the skid.
Colin, it looked like Bo Nix was playing in the formerly Pac-12 conference, right?
It was great.
307 yards at 4 touchdowns. Bo Nix finally got, I know he's had some good wins this year, but he finally had that signature performance as well. And with seeing Atlanta go down, who wants to win that NFC South? Who's going to end up winning that NFC South?
Atlanta's been great against the entire division.
But and then 4-6 Tampa Bay, 4-7 the Saints, 3-7 Carolina.
But Atlanta beat them twice, so you're gonna have to get a game ahead of them, and that's not going to happen.
I wanted to take a quick detour for a second there because, wow, one of those teams is going to be hosting a home playoff game, which is crazy. Back to the Broncos, though. Colin, you talked about them before the year, how you liked Sean Payton and you think Bo Nix could be underrated, and we're seeing it come to fruition. I think the defense has made strides. Let's not forget.
That defense is great.
Last year, and I'm gonna fact check myself and make sure I look at this. I believe they gave up 65 points in one game last year, and to come from what they were last year and to see what they are this year, I think that could be the biggest turnaround. It was 70 points. Remember the Dolphins?
Yeah, Dolphin game.
Week 3, 70-20. That defense gave up 70 points to Tua, Tyreek, and Jalen Waddle. This year, they've been stellar, and that's what happens when you have a good head coach. And dare I say, maybe something to build off of at the quarterback position with Bo Nix as a young rookie.
Absolutely. And you're sitting there at 6-5. That's a very happy 6-5 if you're the Denver Broncos there. On the west side of things, that division is going to tighten up a little bit. Of course, Kansas City's ahead above the rest. But with the Chargers and the Broncos sitting there, the Broncos are going to be a pesky out. That is not going to be a team that people want to see down the stretch as they build some momentum there. And another team building momentum, Pittsburgh Steelers. We're getting to them on the other side of things because we got to talk to Jonathan Zaslow over there. We're getting to a little college football later in the show. But the Pittsburgh Steelers, everybody wanted to, we're still trying to figure them out, it seems like, but they could win in a variety of ways. They won offensively against Washington. They won defensively against Baltimore. Team's here to stay. You got the Browns on Thursday night. Not necessarily the easiest game of all time, but it's definitely relatively a jog in the park. That team has a chance.
Come on.
That team has a chance to be 9-2. That is a very, very dangerous team, and that was a very good win for them over Baltimore. And Lamar was not good. Neither was that offense. So all of a sudden, Lamar is now in a situation where he has two dark clouds above him, and they're called the Pittsburgh Steelers and the Kansas City Chiefs. Now the question lies in, what does Lamar need to do to escape these dark clouds? Because those are the two prime things that are in between him and getting to a Super Bowl. Is what he does against the Steelers and what he does against the Chiefs. We'll get into that and more next. Stick around. It's Russo and Rizzo on ESPN 106.3.
Live from the Anajar and Levine Accident Attorney Studios. Anajar and Levine Accident Attorneys. Call 1-800-747-FREE. This is ESPN 106.3.
Banyan Printing, your trusted printing, mailing, and signage partner in the Palm Beaches for over 45 years. Banyan Printing's new metallic ink press adds that extra shine so that your product comes out in glossy gold, sparkling silver, or any other color you want to shine. Banyan Printing is the official printer of Kaiser Athletics and would love to be your official printing partner as well. Order products and learn more about what Banyan Printing can do for your business at banyanonline.com or call 561-586-6220.
Meet Cheryl.
Hey.
She's on vacation and lost in the moment. Unfortunately, so is her Chase debit card.
It's gotta be somewhere.
Maybe she lost it at salsa night.
These skirts should have pockets.
Or maybe she lost it at Pilates.
3 and 2 and...
But she's not worried. With the Chase mobile app, she can lock her card till it turns up. Tools that help protect. One bank that puts you in control. Visit chase.com/checking. Chase, make more of what's yours.
Chase mobile app is available for select mobile devices. Message and data rates may apply. JP Morgan Chase Bank, N.A. member FDIC.
Hear that? The sound of adorable little birds in your garden. And if you were here, you'd taste the 2 sweet but tiny tomatoes you grew all by yourself. But you're not here. Because your self-care happens when you're riding your motorcycle, protected by Progressive, on your way to the store for a pack of normal-sized tomatoes. So if you ride, switch to Progressive, America's #1 motorcycle insurer, without getting your hands dirty. Progressive Casualty Insurance Company and affiliates, not available in all states.
Palm Beach County's premier college football event is back. Don't miss the 2024 Boca Raton Bowl, Wednesday, December 18th from FAU Stadium and broadcast live on ESPN. Last year's game saw in-state Rising Power USF beat Syracuse out of the ACC. What will this year's game have in store? Big names, big teams, big action. The 2024 Boca Raton Bowl, December 18th at FAU Stadium on ESPN. Don't miss out. Find out more at BocaRatonBowl.com.
Hey, it's Josh Cohen for the accident attorneys, Anajar in Levine. Car accidents, truck accidents, slip and fall, trip and fall. Did you get injured on the job? Workers' comp problems? My friends Mark Anajar and Glenn Levine, they will fight for you. Remember, they do not get paid unless you get paid, and they will fight to get you the maximum compensation you know you deserve. Here's what you do. You just call. Call Anajar and Levine for your absolutely free consultation. Do not settle for just any attorneys. Demand Anajar and Levine, and demand the Anajar and Levine difference. It takes just one phone call to begin to take back control of your life. So do that. Take back control of your life. Call 1-800-747-FREE. That's 1-800-747-FREE. 1-800-747-3733. Anajar and Levine, accident attorneys. Take back control of your life.
Let's get back to the Anajar and Levine Accident Attorney Studios. This is Russo and Rizzo on ESPN 106.3.
Pittsburgh Steelers beat the Baltimore Ravens on Sunday at 1 o'clock, 18-16, where Chris Boswell was the MVP of that one, hitting anything and everything. And that defense was all over Baltimore right from the get-go. Steelers moving to 8-2 now. Baltimore falling behind a little bit in that division race. Still got another one against Pittsburgh later in the year. But it's clear that's one thing. 8 of the last 9 the Steelers have won against the Ravens. It talk about having a player and a team's number. Steelers got the Ravens right there. And Lamar's got this dark cloud, that obstacle in front of him. And it's Kansas City Chiefs on one end, and it's the Pittsburgh Steelers on the other end. And now with the Steelers in the playoffs, you run into one or both of these teams. Lamar, you're going to have to beat one or both of them. It's start time to figure that out. And it doesn't seem like he has that yet.
Yeah, and the scrutiny is only going to get hotter towards the playoffs. You know, it's one thing to lose regular season games, but it's another thing to lose playoff games. And we remember last year when he faced one of those teams in the playoffs, the Kansas City Chiefs. The Chiefs didn't have to score a second-half point to go to the Super Bowl in the AFC Championship.
It's the defenses that are shutting them
down. It is. And I guess I'm going to say fair play to the head coaches, veteran head coaches, Mike Tomlin, Andy Reid. I think there could be a possible correlation there. On another side of things, though, look at how well the Steelers played Jaden Daniels, too. And I know that Jaden doesn't like being compared to Lamar, and I understand that. But they're very similar in their skill sets, being able to throw the ball downfield and being able to use their legs to escape pressure. So as far as Lamar and what he has to do, it's going to have to be beat one of these teams in the playoffs for me to shut up about this of stuff.
Or both.
Yeah, or go to a Super Bowl. Like, best case scenario.
But the thing is, you're not getting to a Super Bowl without getting through one of both.
That was my next question, Colin. Is there a way to not see Pittsburgh and Kansas City? You're going to see one of them.
You're not a Super Bowl caliber team if you're looking to avoid them in that situation. You got to take them head on.
Right.
And I have not seen it yet that Lamar or the Baltimore Ravens, that is, can go toe-to-toe with the top of the line, whether that is a team like the Steelers, Bills, Chiefs, and take them on consistently. That is going to be a problem now, that if Lamar can dominate the Denver Broncos all he wants, he could dominate the Titans and the Texans all he wants. But in order for him to take the next step in his career, he is going to have to be able to beat teams like the Steelers and the Chiefs in big spots.
Right. And, Kyle, can I say his receivers failed him?
Totally. He wasn't great either.
No. But if I could be fair for a little bit with Lamar, because I do like Lamar. Zay Flowers dropping that ball was criminal. And then I believe it was Doomerville. I always get 43's name wrong, Colin. 43 for the Ravens. Caught the ball, had sole possession of it, then got it ripped out for an interception. I mean, you can't really control stuff like that, but I see what you're saying. And he must play better. And the entire offense, too. Like the Steelers,
stagnant the whole day.
The Steelers did a great job of bottling up that run game. They didn't score a touchdown, Colin. The Steelers didn't score a touchdown and won the game. Boswell had like 27 fantasy points in my league. And that's why I respect Tomlin so much. Steeler fans will complain to me, Colin, and go, Tomlin's so conservative. He always and only takes his field goals. He doesn't go for it on fourth down. That's why they win games. He takes his points. He takes his points and takes his three. Look what that did on Sunday. Went to a win because you're taking your points and not gambling on fourth down situations.
Yeah, I mean, I don't think there was a ton of opportunities for them to gamble that on top. I understand the point.
Yeah. He takes his points. He always takes his points. It doesn't really go against the grain in the whole analytical way.
And they play the Steeler way every time. Through thick and thin, the Steelers are going to play like the Steelers. That was Mike Rizzo. Colin Russo here, Russo and Rizzo on ESPN 106.3. Now, Week 11 basically in the books. One more game tonight, Texans-Cowboys, which bars a lot of interest for those who care about Cooper Rush. But now we're in the second half of the football season. It's time to get started over on Hard Rock Bet. You can bet as little as $1. Get involved on the parlays. There's so many different props when it comes to how you could do your gambling in terms of putting together a parlay. In Week 1, a Florida bettor went 16 for 16. Put together a 16-leg parlay on all the winners in Week 1. Turned $15 into over $100,000. Did it on Hard Rock Bet. So can you. There's so many different ways to bet, so many different types of parlays. If you're not sure what to bet, you can see the popular trending parlays that are built by other users that you could follow and bet in just a few taps over on the Discover page. The NBA's finally back, so hoops betting's in full force, whether that want to be that future bet or it could be game-by-game, over-under, player props. I know people are into that. There's so many different avenues that you could really get involved in now that, especially that college football as well, college basketball. There's going to be a ton of big games coming up where you could really get involved here, and there's going to be a ton of promos attached and a ton of cool parlays that are in possibility over on Hard Rock Bet. Go get started today. Try it now and get up to $100 back in bonus bets if that first bet does not win. That first bet can be a parlay. It can be a prop. It can be the over. Whatever you like to bet, any game you choose. You either win your first bet against the same amount you bet back as a bonus bet. It's Hard Rock Bet. It's offered by the Seminole Tribe of Florida. Must be 21 plus and physically present. Florida wager. Terms and conditions apply. Concerned about gambling? Call 1-888-ADMIT-IT. Now, really quickly, before we shift on with what else happened in Week 11, Mike, you found a barber.
Yeah, I did. And shout out to our intern, Gerardo, because he pointed me to a direction where he thought they could pull off this specific cut I'm looking for. Colin, the biggest thing was, if you're watching on the YouTube stream, obviously you're able to see. If you're in the radio, if you're listening in the car, I don't know what to tell you. Like, this is kind of a hard cut to do. You know what I'm saying?
What do you tell them?
High top fade, bald fade, enough lettuce on top to spike it up.
Okay.
And I was worried I wasn't going to be able to find a barber around here that could pull it off.
What do they screw up when they do that? Do they screw up the hair on top?
It's usually the surrounding part. It's usually my bald high top fade. And then it turns into having to shave everything on my sides and dealing with whatever I have up top. But I'll tell you, I'm going to shout out my guy, Eddie. You know, I know Eddie at Alpa Studios, man. That's where I'm getting my haircut. Eddie is also a fellow nerd. I know you and C-Cat love when I bring up anime, but Eddie and I were talking anime. We were talking Satoru Gojo. We were talking Goku.
It was. All right. You don't need to tell us that part.
Yeah. It was fantastic. Love my haircut. And every 2 weeks now, Eddie goes, you can text me whenever you want to do it. But yeah, shout out to my guy Eddie at Alpa Studios, my new barber down here in West Palm Beach.
Yeah, for those on the radio who aren't actually able to see Rizzo's haircut, think of your first day of second grade with the shirt and the high top.
Come on, man. I think I look better than a second grader.
It looks good. It's just that you waited so long to get a haircut. That is a stark difference.
Yeah, so for those who want to actually tune in and see our pretty faces, you can go to YouTube, Facebook, or Twitter at ESPN West Palm and watch the string alongside with us. Yeah, Mike's got the higher top fade.
High top fade.
It's a little military. You know what I mean?
For sure.
It's got a little Marine Corps in it.
Yeah, but I left enough lettuce to make it look pretty up top, and it's a perfect.
You have product in it.
Oh yeah. Oh, yeah. It's a perfect, here's the thing, I won't need to do product in about a week or two, but Colin, my hair was just everywhere for so long. You know what I mean? It didn't stick in a specific position. So by the time I get 2 weeks into the cut, I'll be able to do it. But every 2 weeks, I'm going to get my hair cut. It's
I don't agree with that.
Relatively cheap cut. That was another big thing. You know, I don't like paying more than about, $30 plus tip. So it was a good deal. Honest God at Alpa.
I agree, but that's a frequent haircut. That's
every 2 weeks, $40 for a haircut. I give 10 for a tip, 30 for the cut. I hooked Eddie up this time around because it was the first time, and he proved to me that he could cut my hair. So I gave him a nice, generous tip. I gave him $60, told him to keep it. I'll be back.
I don't
in 2
know
weeks.
a lot of people that get 2 week haircuts. I mean, it seems like
my brother. It's in Italian. I think it's a Sicilian thing, and
I don't know if it's a Sicilian thing. I think it's just a you and your brother thing, right?
It's growing up. It's growing up in a family where everyone, like my whole dad's side, are barbers. My grandfather was a barber before he was a broadcaster. My great grandfather, my nanu, was a barbershop union leader in San Jose, California. So that's where this comes from. Every 2 weeks, you get your cut. Look good.
$80 a month. What could you do with $80 a month?
A lot.
I'm gonna look it up.
Look up what you can spend $80 and get back to us. See, Kat, you're chiming in a little too much, but
yeah. See, and I know you got your Reddit spot, but if you ever want to come with me, just let me know. Eddie and the boys will hook it up at Alpa.
I appreciate the offer. I don't know.
Eddie and the boys sounds like a sick band. Eddie and the boys.
Yeah, Eddie's my guy, though, dude. I walked in, and he looked at my hair, and it's like, dude. I'm like, yeah, it's been a while, man. I'm like, I've been looking for a barber for a long time.
You don't even know the guy.
Ooh, deluxe monthly candle subscription. Only $80 a month. It's got 4.5 stars.
You're wasting everybody's time by bringing up stuff like that. But that's Christian Cat, of course, behind the glass. It's Russo and Rizzo on ESPN 106.3. Was the Packer game yesterday at Soldier Field, 20-19 victory where they blocked a field goal to win the game? Was that more of an indictment on the Packers and how they're a little shaky, or did the Bears actually show you a little life there?
In my opinion, the Bears showed life, Colin. I think this was a team that we all kind of expected to be at least in the playoff fight come towards the end of the season. I think we all understood they're in a tough division with the Lions and the Packers. The Vikings are the surprise team there. But I think it shows how talented the Bears are. But in the end of the day, the Bears are the Bears, right?
We mentioned that dark cloud following them. That dark cloud got them.
Oh, my God. It thunderstruck. Lightning is struck. Yeah. Lightning is struck. I didn't know Harry Potter fans. I'll stop.
I'm kind of on the flip side of that with the Packers, too. Packers are sitting there at 7-3. That is not a 7-3 football team. That team is not top of the line NFC.
Josh Jacobs finally had a good game.
Oh, he's had a good year. I'm not worried about Josh. Like, that running game has been fairly consistent. It's Jordan Love that I think is all over the place. Jordan Love still does not know what type of quarterback he wants to be. And whether that be as a gunslinger Brett Favre-esque, or if he wants to be the methodical, tactician that Aaron Rodgers was. He sometimes has plays where he thinks he can make a play that Aaron Rodgers can make on the regular. Or he has a play that only players like Brett Favre could make on the regular. And Jordan Love is just not as, open, and he's a little more limited than those guys. And I think he tries a little too hard. I think this Packer team has quite a few holes. And I think it starts offensively. They escaped that Texan game with one of the worst games of C.J. Stroud's career. And in a lot of ways, they escaped that Jacksonville game. Now, you lose to the Lions in the rain at home, where everybody thought the Lions would be vulnerable. And then you escape against the Bears. I don't think the Packers are all that good.
The Bears beat themselves. I want to make that clear.
Yeah.
They beat themselves. They had
every chance to win that game.
They had a chance to line up for a game-winning field goal, and you can't do the basics in football. You can't do the basics in football and make sure your field goal kicker has a chance to make a kick. But how about Christian Watson? That guy was running wide butt open all game. 4 for 150. 4 for 150 for Christian Watson. And I agree with you in a sense with Jordan Love, but I would take Jordan Love over a lot of quarterbacks in the NFL. Would you agree?
A lot? Define a lot.
I think he's at least top 10, no?
No. I'm not sold on him.
I know you're not. And
What have we seen this year? He leads the league in interceptions.
But let's keep.
He's got a great offensive play calling coach, and he's got a ton of offensive pieces around him.
I think something could be said, Colin. He's kind of not playing at 100%, right? He got hurt in week 1. It was a pretty bad injury.
And then he got hurt a couple weeks ago, but they're coming off the bye here. I understand that. But that doesn't, it's not even like physical limitations. It's boneheaded plays.
Yeah, the interception.
He has two of them a game. He has every game. He had him against the Lions. He had 3 of them against the Vikings. He had him against the Jags. Boneheaded plays, a couple a game. And I understand he's still relatively young on the scale of being a seasoned NFL quarterback. But I think the Packers have shown quite a few chinks in the armor comparatively to teams like Philadelphia or a team like Detroit that are going to be sitting there at the top of the NFC. I mean, the NFC is a little middle of the pack, but I don't know if I see it with the Packers. And when that running game is working and that's firing, I think they're a lot better. Yep. He needs to play more complimentary and stop playing a little hero ball. That's my take.
They're a wild card team too, obviously, with the Detroit Lions being at 9-1. Tough schedule, right? Kind of you're at Detroit. You're at Seattle. I know we haven't even gotten to the Niners. So much happened over the weekend, Colin. But Seattle has some life after that big win at Minnesota. And the Bear game at home, it's usually a formality. But after watching how good the Bears played at home, at least, one would think that could possibly be a game too. So I agree with you when you say 10 wins is probably going to get you a playoff spot. You need 3 more.
They're probably in good shape. They put themselves in good enough shape to get that.
Home against the Niners, home against the Dolphins. Now, Green Bay on I believe, is that Thanksgiving, Colin?
The Dolphin game is Thanksgiving.
Okay, yeah. So, I mean, it's going to be freezing, so one would think the Dolphins probably aren't going to play well. You need 3 more wins. And I think those 3 wins could be the Dolphins, the Saints, and the Bears all at home.
Yeah, I mean, they already lost to the Vikings. You got to assume they're not going to get swept by them. And they already lost to the Lions. So if they want to split, they're going to have to, show up in a big way there.
Holy cow. A blocked field goal away from 0-3 in the division.
Yeah.
A blocked field goal away from 0-3 in the division in the NFC North. Crazy.
I'm not in on the Packers. That is not a team that I am completely sold on. And in terms of churning out these victories, they get lucky in a lot of ways. And they got a pretty good defense. It's not great. And they got a good offense. It's not great. I don't know if they do anything great. I don't think they do.
And you're right on Love. Throws a lot of interceptions and plays hero ball. I usually save that for the hero ball term for NBA and college basketball, but I mean truly, Love does try to be the superhero at the end of the games, or
he tries
wherever
to be a Favre superhero this play, and then tries to be a Rodgers superhero this play. Instead, do what he did against in the playoffs, and let kind of the game come to you. Let that game plan. LaFleur's going to put you in a position to succeed. Let that kind of roll on and develop momentum that way. Don't try to force the issue.
I mean, 11 interceptions in 8 games played is pretty crazy.
It's glaring.
And it's not like he's getting a sack a game. He's been sacked 8 times too. So he has time.
The way I look at it is they've had success with Willis. There's the bottom line.
Yeah.
Malik Willis stinks.
Didn't turn the ball over.
And they had success with him. So the idea that Jordan Love is sitting there at the, as the prince of the NFL, I don't know if I buy. I really don't. I'm not sorry. I see less and less from the Packers week by week by them eking out these victories. They were terrible again. That Viking game was not as close as it made out to be.
Green Bay fans already, and Colin, you know him well from doing radio in Madison. The excuse is probably the injured factor. Sure. That's the excuse.
Fine. They're the only team that has injuries?
Right.
I can't buy that.
To the quarterback position, at least, with Love.
We'll talk to Jonathan Zaslow next of the ESPN Radio, the College Football Tour, the Zaslow Show 2.0. Get his take on what happened over the weekend. A couple upsets. BYU down. LSU down. Florida back in the mix. We'll put together a 12-team playoff with Mr. Zaslow. Stick around for that next on Russo and Rizzo, ESPN 106.3.
Live from the Anajar and Levine Accident Attorney Studios. Anajar and Levine Accident Attorneys. Call 1-800-747-FREE. This is ESPN 106.3.
I'm Mark Anajar.
I'm Glenn Levine.
I'm Ellie Anajar.
Together, we're Anajar and Levine, and our team is a triple threat to big insurance companies.
Don't settle with the insurance companies for a fraction of what your case is worth. We'll fight to get you the maximum compensation you deserve.
That's the Anajar and Levine difference. Get your free case review right now. We'll help you take back control of your life. Call 1-800-747-FREE. That's 1-800-747-3733.
In office, West Palm Beach.
Hurricane fans, the final game of the season is here. Join us on November 23rd at Hard Rock Stadium as the Hurricanes take on the Demon Deacons of Wake Forest. It's Senior Day, a day to honor the incredible players who have given their all to the U. Let's give them a send-off they'll never forget and fill the stadium with Hurricanes pride. Don't miss out. Get your tickets today by visiting MiamiHurricanes.com or by calling 1-800-GO-CANES.
Tickets are on sale now for the Cognizant Classic in the Palm Beaches. South Florida's only PGA Tour event returns to PGA National February 26th through March 2nd. Watch your favorite golfers compete on the Champions Course while enjoying a new on-site experience filled with local bites, craft cocktails, fan activities, and more. Get ready for a week to remember. Secure your tickets now at thecognizantclassic.com.
When it comes to choosing a health plan, you can trust the members who have experienced it firsthand. Humana is proud to offer a Medicare Advantage plan in Florida that earned 5 out of 5 stars. 5 stars is the highest rating possible. It's based on real members' experiences, and it's decided by the Centers for Medicare and Medicaid Services. Our Humana Gold Plus HMO earned 5 out of 5 stars. That means a few things. It means members get outstanding customer service. It means we connect them with excellent preventive care and chronic condition support. Most of all, it means you have a trustworthy option for a Medicare Advantage plan. Explore our 5-star Humana Gold Plus HMO at humana5star.com. Humana, a more human way to healthcare. Every year, Medicare evaluates plans based on a 5-star rating system. Humana is a Medicare Advantage HMO organization with a Medicare contract. Enrollment in any Humana plan depends on contract renewal.
Hey, this is the Fat Jack, and football season is here. Are you ready to make some money? Have you bet on sports before? That probably did not go great. I can help you make money. Go to fatjacksports.com and get dialed in to turn a profit. The picks are emailed to you. They're on your personal portal on the website, and you can pay less than $50 a week for longer packages to make money betting this football season. Fatjacksports.com, the only place you need to go. 100% transparent, and will turn you profit this season at fatjacksports.com.
Hey golf fans, Colin Russo here. Looking to improve your game? Flagstick Golf Performance, the ultimate indoor golf experience, is now open in Boynton Beach. With 3 indoor simulators and a state-of-the-art putting studio, Flagstick helps players at all levels up their game. Get lessons from experts, try the latest clubs, or just come up for a round in the simulators. You can track your stats and see real improvement. Flagstick is where serious golfers and beginners find their edge. Bring your friends or family and enjoy golf like never before. Visit flagstickgolfperformance.com to book your session.
The Construction Reduction Sales Event is going on right now at Greenway Kia of West Palm Beach. Greenway Kia is under construction, and we need to move the 24s off the lot so the new 2025s at the port can be delivered. So, we're making deals that other dealers won't. New 2024 Kia Fortes are only $149 per month. Make no payments until next year. Plus, we want your trade. Get up to $6,000 over Kelley Blue Book fair market value for any trade. If you have a job bringing home $350 per week, we want to approve your credit. It's the season of new traditions only at Greenway Kia of West Palm Beach. Call 800-NEW-KIAs or visit online at greenwaykiawestpalmbeach.com.
We want to see ya in a Greenway Kia.
Qualified applicants through KFA, 24-month lease, $34.99 due at signing, 10,000 miles per year, 0 security deposit required, plus tax, tag, and $9.99 admin fee. Negative equity refinanced. 90 days deferred payments. Interest accrues from date of purchase. Discount includes all factory rebates to dealer. Offers don't combine. Expires 12/30/24.
Let's get back to the Anajar and Levine Accident Attorney Studios. This is Russo and Rizzo on ESPN 106.3.
Rolling on here on Russo and Rizzo on ESPN 106.3 from the City Place Studios in downtown West Palm Beach. Colin Russo, Mike Rizzo, Christian Cat. Of course, start your day out with a bang. Hit F45 right here in downtown West Palm Beach. I'm there every single morning, 45 minutes in and out. For those of you looking to get a quick sweat in, you don't necessarily have to worry about anything. 2 coaches on site. It's a social setting. Never the same workout twice. In and out. They got the classes all throughout the morning and the afternoons. They got locations in Wellington, Palm Beach Gardens, and downtown West Palm Beach. It's more the functional side of working out instead of the Olympic side of things. So I love it. I feel as flexible, in shape as I've ever been thanks to F45. Go check them out, F45 downtown West Palm Beach on Instagram. Now I'd like to welcome in the man on the college football tour himself, Mr. Jonathan Zaslow, the Zaslow Show 2.0, and the college football tour on ESPN Radio. Joining us now on ESPN Radio, Mr. Zaslow, what's going on? How we doing?
There they are. Hello, guys. How are you today? Good to see you as always.
Yeah, good to hear from you as well. Let's break it down. Where were you over the weekend?
I was in Athens. That was the place to be.
Yeah.
Georgia,
oh my God,
Tennessee. I even brought my family with me. I had my son and my wife. They went to the game, too. It ended up being a really good game. It was the feature game of the weekend. I'd never been to Athens before. And now the SEC, it's a hodgepodge. It's a big mess atop the SEC now.
Well, I mean, let's think about it. Carson Beck finally put together a good slate of games. He played very, very well. Georgia right back in the thick of it.
Georgia's absolutely in the thick of it, which I'm glad because, you know, the rankings obviously come out tomorrow night. Georgia was ranked number 12 now. They dropped to 12 after the Ole Miss loss. And I understand you got to win the games, but here's the thing. You tell me there's 11 teams in the country better than Georgia? No chance. So I'm glad Georgia won over the weekend. That puts them right back in the mix, not just for a playoff spot, but if a few things break right, they could be back in the scenario for SEC championship, because obviously Texas is still a game up. Texas and Texas A&M are sitting atop the SEC, but we know Georgia, they have a head-to-head tiebreak against Texas, and Texas A&M play the last game of the regular season, so it's not like both of them are going to be sitting at the top there. So a lot of great action still to come next couple weeks to sort things out there in that SEC.
Zaz, who do you, in your opinion right now, who's the best team in the SEC?
Yeah, I think it's Georgia.
Okay.
I do. I think it's Georgia. The defense has been great for most of the year. It's been the offense that's terrible. But the fact that, like you said, Carson Beck had a really good game. I mean, threw the ball a ton. But you got to remember, that's a Tennessee defense that had given up just their highest point surrender on the season was 19 going into that game. And Georgia scored 17 on them in the first half, and then, of course, add 2 more touchdowns in the second half. So maybe that's a bit of a get-right game for Georgia. I still think Georgia's best team in the SEC.
Well, one thing I'll say, too, is I think Alabama has the nod in terms of head-to-head opponent winning percentage, which is going to be a major tiebreak of 3+ teams because everybody's beating each other. With you know, Ole Miss beating Georgia, and then Georgia losing to Alabama, but beating Texas, and of course Alabama losing to Tennessee. It's a big round robin. So I think that Texas A&M Texas game could very well be an elimination game straight up. That could very well be two teams.
Elimination game straight up. So like if Texas wins that game, obviously
if Texas loses that game, they're not getting in.
Wow.
Who's their best win, though? Yeah, Zaz, like to Colin's point, who's the best win?
They have one win against an SEC team with a winning record, and it's Vanderbilt.
Yeah, that's a good point. I mean, what other win can they hang their hat on there? You're right. They haven't beaten anybody good. I mean, you crush Florida. They stink, even though they've been better. You crush Oklahoma. We all know they stink. You crush Michigan.
Arkansas.
They stink. I'll tell you what. You may be right. I mean, Texas can go from being in the SEC championship game to maybe missing out entirely on the playoffs.
And
you may be right about that.
That's the same thing about A&M as well. Of course, A&M will be out if they lose that game.
Yes. So the A&M loses, they're going to be it. All those other SEC teams are absolutely going to jump A&M. They're A&M. It's not Texas. But you're right. That's a very interesting spot for Texas. Mm-hmm. It's an all or nothing spot for them.
Zaz, who's been a surprise team for you in the SEC? Who's kind of come out of the woodwork
it's got to be
this year?
South Carolina.
I agree.
Now,
hang on, Zaz. If I could butt in real quick.
Yeah.
South Carolina should have beat, who was it, Alabama? And
they should have beat Alabama.
And they lost to LSU
Yeah,
and
exactly.
Alabama.
Those two. I was about to bring the... Yep.
By a combined 5 points, guys, those two games. At that point, you knew South Carolina was pretty good, and then they crushed Vanderbilt. Vanderbilt's a good team, all right? They crushed Vanderbilt. They crushed Texas A&M. They crushed Oklahoma again. Oklahoma's not any good, but it's still Oklahoma.
Right.
South Carolina, they're probably not going to make the playoffs, But South Carolina, they became a player, and guess what? The last game of the season, they could end their rival Clemson's year. All right, South Carolina's at Clemson the last game of the season, and that's no pushover.
Yeah, absolutely. Now, Zaz, I want to fill out a 12-team playoff bracket with you. First, before we get to that, who is the biggest loss of the week in your eyes?
Biggest loss of the week. I think it's got to be BYU, and here's why. It's real easy to say BYU, but now we have an interesting scenario, and this is why I think it's the biggest loss. We're going to have the college football playoff rankings come out tomorrow, and what we're going to see is we're going to see the Mountain West leading Boise State in the top 4. Whatever their rank, it could be 9, 10, 11, they're going to be in the top 4 now for highest rated conference leaders. And that means the Big 12 leader, which is, BYU still, they're going to be on the outside. BYU, the Big 12 leader is probably going to come in at number 11 or number 12, all right, in the rankings, all right? So for the first time in these rankings, the top 4 is not going to include all 4 Power 4 conferences. It's going to include the Mountain West leading Boise State, while the Big 12 winner, if this scenario holds up, could find themselves on the road at likely a powerhouse Big 10 team in a first-round playoff game. That, I think, is the most interesting scenario to watch for tomorrow night.
Wow, interesting. So the way I look at it, though, is whoever that Big 12 champion is going to be,
they got to bye.
We'll get that bye because I know it's the highest-ranked conference champions. I understand that. But there's no way that they're going to let Boise State sit there in a second-round college football playoff game in a prime time and let some SEC team walk in there and throttle them, no?
Well, Boise would be home, all right, as presumably the 4 seed.
Well, that would be a bowl game. Keep in mind, if they get that bowl, that would be either Fiesta, that could be wherever it may be. It could be in New Orleans. It could be in a variety of different spots. They're trying to sell a game.
And so, you would play the winner of the 5-12 if you're number 4? Is that what we're talking about there in that second round?
Yeah.
As it stands right now, you're probably talking about a Big 10 team.
Ohio State or the SEC runner-up.
Or whoever, the loser of the Big Ten championship, right?
Yeah, you're talking about a Big 10 team that would probably go to Boise in the second round if that's the way it holds up. But that, to me, is the most interesting part because I don't think any of us have considered that the top 4 who get the byes are not going to be the Power 4 conference champions. That's exactly what we're looking at right now.
All right, so let's get into this really quickly. Jonathan Zaslow, the Zaslow Show 2.0 and the College Football Tour on ESPN Radio, joining us now on Russo and Rizzo. Let's do this together. Let's put together this playoff roster. You mentioned this, so let's slot in Oregon at the moment at the 1 with the Big Ten.
Are we doing it based on the AP that came out yesterday? What are we doing this based on?
We're going to do it based on what we think, how we think this is going to end out. How's that?
Okay. Yep. Very good.
You agree with Oregon at number 1?
Yeah, of course. Yeah.
And that SEC champion will be number 2. Would you agree with this?
I would assume so. So do we want to just slide in Texas right now for argument's sake?
I think Alabama's going to win that game, but I'd be okay with sliding in Texas.
Yeah, so let's just slide in Texas.
Okay.
Since they're going to be ranked 2 or 3 tomorrow night. Let's do Texas.
And then you have the ACC and the Big. I'm going to go with the Big 12 here, but let's put it in Miami. All right.
Okay. I think Miami's going to wind up being 4. I think the ACC champ's going to wind up being a 4, but we could do number 3 for now.
And then you think this Big 12 champion is going to be Colorado or BYU?
Oh boy. I mean, let's go Colorado. Come
on,
what are we talking about? Let's go Colorado. Let's do it.
You agree with this, Mike?
Yeah, absolutely.
You like Colorado?
I do.
Well?
I haven't been big outside of them winning us some cash. I've not really been big on BYU.
Now
let's go Colorado.
We don't have to bend over backwards for figuring out the seeding side of it. It's more about the teams that are getting in.
Right.
Mm-hmm. And then we're talking Boise, who, Mountain West champion. They could wind up like a 10 seed.
Yeah.
We're talking
and
somewhere around that.
Quickly on Boise, Zaz in a bit of a scare against San Jose this weekend.
Early on, what was it, tied? They were down 14-0.
Yeah, it was like 14-0. Yeah,
it was tied at 21, and then they just ran away.
Yeah.
Ashton Genty doing his thing in the second half. Yeah.
Right.
So,
I mean, look, you're not believing in Boise State once the playoffs roll.
Let's put in the locks. Boise will get in.
Yeah.
I think Notre Dame's going to get in.
Notre Dame's going to get in. There's no reason for them to lose one of these final couple games.
Yeah, they got an elimination. Army and them have the elimination game, which is interesting this weekend. But let's just slot Notre Dame in. Let's slot Georgia in as well. I think Georgia's
I think you got to slot Ole Miss in.
I agree.
So
Ole Miss is not going to. It's going to have their hands full of Florida. Keep that in mind.
So 7 and 8, Georgia and Ole Miss.
Yep.
Okay.
Where do you have Alabama? You had them at 6.
Alabama, Georgia, Ole Miss, and Texas. I think are locks to get in. Do you guys agree?
You had Notre Dame.
So what's
Notre Dame, Boise. So I got 5 in outside the top 4. We're at 9. And we haven't
I
even.
think Tennessee is going to find themselves the first team out.
Yeah, I think they're behind the 8 ball here a little bit. Ohio State is going to get in. Let's put them in.
Of course.
Ohio State is going to get in.
And right now, as it stands, too, Indiana's going to get in.
Yeah. So we're at 10, 11 with Indiana. You want to put Indiana?
If Indiana are Indiana,
12-point underdogs against Ohio State this weekend.
Yep, Indiana, Ohio State. If Indiana keeps that game close, and I think they will, if Indiana keeps that game close, they're still getting in as a 1-loss team.
I think they got to cover. They got to cover.
At home. Ohio State's at home. Yep. They're going to keep it. I don't know, boys. I got to see it to believe it. I got to see it to believe it, man.
I think a lot of money is going to be on Indiana this game, which makes me a little nervous because I think the Vegas books are trying to make some money off this
Rizzo,
game.
Cincinnati? Google him. He wins.
He does. No.
So Indiana's sitting there. I mean, we could put Indiana in, but then what do you do with these SEC teams now?
Did you leave Penn State out?
Yeah, we did.
You haven't had Penn State, so you want to put Indiana and Penn State in, and Tennessee's your team out.
Look,
so you're taking Tennessee out and leaving off and keeping in Indiana and Penn State.
Elephant in the room. I got to bring up, and Colin has yelled at me for this, but
come on,
Indiana's getting left out for an SEC team, guys. If they don't beat Ohio State, I don't want to hear this close.
So they
stuff.
have to be undefeated, is what you're saying.
I think so. They gotta. Zaz, who they beat?
If they lose by 3 at Ohio State, they're getting in.
The committee.
I agree. Russo, I'm with you. If they lose a tight game, and I think it's going to be tight, if they lose a tight game at Ohio State.
The committee is going to look at that team and go, your best win is Washington. Tennessee is beating Alabama.
Then what are you going to say to Penn State? What are you going to say to Penn State?
You know what?
How do you say that to Indiana, not to Penn
State?
State? How do you say that to Indiana, not Penn State?
You've seen in years past this college football playoff committee not care about who they put in. And my Buckeyes have been guilty of it. Penn State should have been put in 2016, and they weren't. The Buckeyes went, and they got their doors blown off them by Clemson. All I'm saying is you can't rely on the committee to be consistent and make smart moves. That's all I'm saying.
Can I just put a cherry on this real quick here? I'm going to put a cherry on top of this. How stupid are the people who thought the 12-team college football playoff was not a good idea?
Oh, my God.
We were talking about it today.
Ridiculous.
This is why it's
ridiculous.
Great. There's 4 elimination games. And we still got another week. We still got another 2 weeks to play. Essentially, you got Army in an elimination game against Notre Dame. You got BYU and Arizona State in a complete elimination game. Indiana's in an elimination game, and Penn State, in a lot of ways, at Minnesota is not going to be a walk in the park. That is an elimination game as well.
It's so good. These dummies who thought the regular season was going to mean less. Are you kidding me? We have playoff games every single week. The regular season, it means more now.
Yep.
There are more games that matter every single week.
So there's 2. So you got Indiana, Penn State, Tennessee is the last 3. 2 of them need to get in.
Indiana, Penn State, Tennessee. I think Tennessee's out. I think they're getting those 2 Big Ten teams in. Because what are we also talking about? 4 SEC teams prior to that anyway. I think those 2 Big Ten teams get in.
There's going to be hell to pay, Zaz, with the SEC.
And we're not, and we haven't even considered Texas A&M.
They're going to sit here and they're going to. The SEC faithful is going to sit there and go, Penn State beat Washington and Indiana beat Washington. That's exactly what they're going to be saying.
I agree,
Zaz.
but I'm just gathering it from Penn State being number 4 right now in the AP. For some reason, everyone is still in love with Penn State. I don't get it.
I think it's how
I agree with that too.
I think, and this is an Ohio State fan speaking. I think they overrate the Buckeyes a little bit. Our best win is Penn State, and I think they overrate that almost win that we had in Oregon. So if they're taking that loss for face value, as they're going, all right, they lost by 7 to the number 2 team in the country. We're going to see how good the Big Ten is. This is what's going to Zaz, more to the college football playoff, the 12 team. We're going to see who actually is the best. We're going to see if these Big Ten teams can hang with these SEC teams.
Yep. Yeah, I love every Tuesday night. Every Tuesday night, these rankings come out. I'm dialed in. I love it.
Right.
Zaz, tell people what they got to know about HexMD.
Oh, come on. Guys, we all want to be healthy. We all want to look good. I know I'm tired of all the fads that are out there. Hexus MD is the easy way to optimal health. That's right. We're talking easy and effective weight management. It's going to work for you. Hexus MD offers semaglutide and tirzepatide for weight loss. These are the best-selling weight loss medications on the market. No insurance required. Here's how it works. You fill out a simple medical form online, Hexus MD. That's HEXISMD.com. You speak to a physician. You get your medication. It's so easy. And because you're listening right now to Russo and Rizzo, use promo code ESPN50, 50% off your first order. What are we talking about? HexusMD, HexusMD.com, your trusted partner in health and wellness.
Jonathan Zaslow, the Zaslow Show 2.0, joining us now. Let's shift to the. All right, so before we go to the NFL for a couple questions there, Indiana, Penn State, Tennessee. If that was today, I think Penn State would be the odd one out, or Tennessee.
I think Tennessee would be out. I mean, again, just basing it on the AP, you have Tennessee who is 6 spots below.
I think
Penn
Tennessee
State.
and Georgia flip. I think that's the right way to look at it. Georgia was the first team out last week. I think that would flip, right? Would you agree?
Yep. Yeah, I do. Yeah, I think Tennessee's out. I think we watched an elimination game last week. I think Tennessee, or a couple days ago, I think Tennessee's going to be the team that's out. I think they're going to look at it and say, look, we can't let every SEC team in. All right, we got a handful of them. We're going to keep it moving.
Interesting. Shifting to the NFL side of things, of course, a couple teams showed you a little something. Teams like the Chargers, who had a big win on Sunday Night Football against the Bengals. And the Ravens. I mean, the Ravens, of course, dropping that game to the Steelers. What was that biggest takeaway of the NFL in terms of what you saw? Who made that biggest statement win?
Steelers to me. I already told you guys, Mike Tomlin is the coach of the year. They don't even have to hold a vote. There's no two ways about it. But I really don't understand what's going on there in Pittsburgh. They have no business being 8-2. They have now won 2 games. They're 2-0 when they don't score touchdowns. It's the only team in professional football history. They're undefeated when you don't score touchdowns. How are you supposed to make a case? And you'll win without scoring a touchdown against the 3-time, multi-time MVP here in Lamar Jackson.
And they beat him every time they play.
Right.
Oh, he's lost 4 out of 5 career games against Tomlin and the Steelers. I love what the Steelers are doing, and now because of Kansas City's loss, Pittsburgh wins, you really got a 3-team race there. Pittsburgh, Buffalo, Kansas City atop the AFC. This is not the Chiefs' number 1 seed. They're not being gifted that. They're going to have to fight for it. You got 3 teams up there that have a shot now.
Absolutely.
Speaking of those Chiefs, going down to the Bills, Zaz, it's great that the Bills are able to beat the Chiefs in the regular season. The big question I want to know from you, are they going to be able to do it in the playoffs this year if it swings that way?
Nah, I believe when I see it.
That's what I mean, right?
Like yesterday was fun. It was great that it was in Buffalo. The crowd's going crazy. It's great for Josh Allen because as far as the MVP goes, that was a monster opportunity for him, and he took advantage, and he put an exclamation point on it where he had the run which sealed the game. So it was the perfect kind of game for Josh Allen's MVP case, and it's Lamar Jackson, it's Josh Allen, it's those two right now for the MVP. But if we're talking about playoffs, no. I got to see it to believe it. Let's not be dope.
And Zaz, that's what the Chiefs have built themselves to be. Andy Reid, 2-time, back-to-back Super Bowl champion. It's like that's the consolation prize, right? That right there was the consolation prize.
Yeah, absolutely. I love this rivalry. It's the new Brady versus Manning, Patriots versus Colts. That's what we got here forever and ever while these guys are playing each other. Chiefs, Bills, it's the new Patriots, Colts right now.
At what point does Jared Goff slide himself into these conversations?
Look, he could be on the periphery. It's exactly like that, Colin, where you get to mention him and you say, what about? But he's on the outside. It's Josh Allen. It's Lamar Jackson. I love the season Jared Goff is having. But what are we talking about? Like, Jared Goff is not more valuable. Let's just simplify it. He's not more valuable than Josh Allen, and he's not more valuable than Lamar Jackson. He's a really good player, but you got those two guys. You got Jared Goff. He's a what-about guy right now.
Yeah, he's probably on the outside looking in. But the only player in the NFL to have 4 games of 140-plus passer rating, he's been absolutely
But I told
outstanding.
you, that 5-interception game he had a couple weeks ago, and they still won.
Yeah.
They'd have been better off losing it. If they lost it,
that's a decent
that
point.
helps his MVP case. Because they won it, it hurts him in a big way.
That's a good point. Zaz, where can people tune into you if they want to listen?
Of course, Zaslow Show 2.0, always presented by Anajar and Levine Accident Attorneys. They're the title sponsor of everything Zaslow Show 2.0. I love them, and they're going to get you your compensation when you are involved in a personal injury. Anajar and Levine Accident Attorneys, 800-747-FREE, and you get Zaslow Show 2.0 wherever you get your podcasts, every day, Monday through Friday. And guys, real quick here, I want to tell you, we got a big poker tournament coming up at Harrah's Pompano Beach Casino, all right? We're talking no limit hold'em, $1 million break the bank. I'm going to show up. I'm going to get involved in this, all right? I got to play some poker. Play at any qualifying table to garner 150 hours, and then you qualify for the January 29th Break the Bank tournament. $250,000, guys, in prizes. Plus, you could win a seat at the World Series of Poker Circuit main event. You finish number 1, that's your shot at $1 million. Play poker at Harrah's Pompano Beach Casino, 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. Powerline Road, Pompano Beach at the Pomp. You got to be 18 or older for poker and simulcast, 21 or older to gamble. And if you have a gambling problem, call 1-888-ADMIT-IT, guys. Come on.
Great job as always, Zaz. Appreciate you joining us. We'll talk next week.
Thanks, Zaz.
Terrific work, guys. We'll see you.
That's Jonathan Zaslow of the College Football Tour on ESPN Radio and the Zaslow Show 2.0. You heard it there. We'll continue the conversation, do a little Overreaction Monday, a little 5 at 5 next. Stick around for that. Russo and Rizzo, ESPN 106.3.
Call 1-800-747-FREE. That's 1-800-747-3733.
ESPN 1063.
WUUB Jupiter, a Good Karma Brands radio station.
What's up, y'all? It's Theo Dorsey, and the holiday season is here. You can give back the gift of golf at the park in West Palm Beach. For every $100 gift card you purchase, the park will donate $10 towards their Christmas For the Path program. If you're looking for the perfect gift for the golfer in your life, or even yourself, now is the time. Enjoy great golf while making the season brighter for kids who need it most. Swing by the park and let's tee up some holiday cheer together. The park is open 7 days a week from 8 a.m. to 9 p.m.
Habitat for Humanity of Greater Palm Beach County invites you to rediscover the Restores. Donate your new and gently used items or shop for great deals up to 60% off every day. Sales of donated items help Habitat for Humanity partner with local families to build and repair safe and affordable homes in our community. They are now offering easy online scheduling and faster pickup times. Schedule today with any of their 5 locations or visit habitatgreaterpbc.org to learn more. That's habitatgreaterpbc.org.
Hey, it's Josh Cohen. When you need auto repair, honesty and reliability are everything. Trust the home for honest, reliable service since 1970. St. Lucie Battery and Tire. St. Lucie Battery and Tire has all the tire and battery brands in stock for cars, trucks, RVs, marine, power sports, golf carts, everything. Major and minor service repairs, free tire pressure, battery checks. St. Lucie Battery and Tire, over 50 years in our community. And now with 18 full-service locations, West Palm to the Treasure Coast. Go to slbt.com. That's slbt.com.
ESPN West Palm is highlighting the best performance of the week, presented by Baptist Health Orthopedic Care. Every week, a different team will be featured across ESPN 106.3 and ESPN West Palm Play. The winning performance receives $500, courtesy of Baptist Health Orthopedic Care. Do you know a team, player, or school with a killer performance? Nominate them by emailing highschool@espnwestpalm.com. Baptist Health Orthopedic Care. Go where the pros go.
Make poker playing hours work for you at Harris Pompano Beach with the $1 million Break the Bank. It's a no-limit hold'em event that can make you a millionaire. Play at any qualifying table. Rack up 150 hours to qualify for the January 29th Break the Bank tournament. $250,000 in prizes to be awarded, plus win a seat at the World Series of Poker Circuit main event. Finish at number 1 for your shot to win $1 million. Play poker today at Harris Pompano Beach. Open 24 hours, 7 days a week. Powerline Road at 3rd Street, Pompano Beach. Must be 18 or older for poker and simulcast. Must be 21 or older to gamble. Gambling problem? Call 1-888-MINUTE.
Time now for a PNC pause. PNC Bank is committed to making a difference in the lives of the customers they serve in the South Florida community. See how at pnc.com. You're listening to ESPN 106.3.
Good Greek moving and storage. Your superhero movers.
It's the Good Greek Spiro. For the best move ever, go to goodgreek.com.
Good Greek moving and storage. Your superhero movers.
Want to accelerate your career as a manager or executive in the exciting industry of sports? Florida Atlantic University's MBA in Sport Management program is ranked #1 in Florida and 10th in the world. Students learn practical and applied skills from top faculty and experts who work in the industry. With a 94% placement rate for all grads, the full-time MBA program sets students up for success in the world of sports. Check out Florida Atlantic University's MBA in Sport Management program today by going to business.fau.edu.
Good people. It's your boy Theo Dorsey, and let me tell you about Prize Picks. Prize Picks is the best place to get real money sports action. With over 10 million members and billions of dollars in awarded winnings, Prize Picks has made daily fantasy sports accessible to all. You just pick more or less on at least 2 players for a shot to win up to 100 times your cash. Run your game all season long on Prize Picks. Prize Picks now offers Venmo for quick and easy deposits and withdrawals into your account this sports season. Think Justin Jefferson will get more than 83.5 yards next week? How about Lamar Jackson? More than 1.5 touchdowns. Cook up hot takes with your friends and win real money this football season when you and your crew run your game on Prize Picks. Download the app today and use code THEOD to get $50 instantly after you play your first $5 lineup. That's code THEOD and get $50 instantly after you play your first $5 lineup. Prize Picks, run your game.
Now, it's time for a little R&R.
Call into the bucket, lays it up and in.
Ball game, Rizzo! Live in the Anajar and Levine Accident Attorney Studios, this is Russo and Rizzo on ESPN 106.3.
This team is going to be tough when they finally get it together.
Sit back and relax. Let Russo and Rizzo take you home.
Oh, mercy! Light him up, Colin!
Second hour here of Russo and Rizzo post Week 11 NFL Sunday. College football, a couple upsets on that end. BYU falls, LSU gone, forget it. A couple elimination games this weekend. Indiana, Ohio State being one of them on the NFL side of things. The Chargers finally showed you something, beating the Bengals on Sunday Night Football in a big spot, avoiding basically a meltdown towards the end of the game. The Ravens fall to the Steelers once again. Seems to be a dark cloud over their head. And the dark cloud over the Bears' head is the Bears being dysfunctional organization, losing, finding a way to lose. That is the Chicago Bears way. Hi, everybody. Colin Russo here. Joined alongside me, Mike Rizzo with Christian Cat, of course, behind the glass. It's Russo and Rizzo on ESPN 106.3 live from the City Play Studios in downtown West Palm Beach. We mentioned some thoughts about what happened over the week. We talked to Jonathan Zazzo. If you missed any of the show, go to Russo and Rizzo on Apple, Spotify, wherever you get your podcasts. But I want to overreact a little bit. I want to react where it's a bit ludicrous in some of the directions we go. Let's do a little Overreaction Monday presented by Hard Rock Bet.
Sound the alarm. Let's jump to conclusions. There's no room for reason. It's Overreaction Monday.
Oh, how could I be so stupid?
Presented by Hard Rock Bet.
So on Overreaction Monday, Mike and I and Christian give our biggest reactions of Week 11, whether that be in the college side of things or in the NFL side of things or in any side of things. Give your overreaction. It's presented by Hard Rock Bet. It's Florida's official sports book for the first time ever in Florida. Bet on the Dolphins, bet on the NFL all season long. Try Hard Rock Bet now and receive up to $100 back in bonus bets if that first bet does not win. Offered by the Seminole Tribe of Florida, must be 21 plus and physically present in Florida to wager. Terms and conditions apply. Considered by gambling. Call 1-888-ADMIT-IT. I alluded to mine earlier with Jonathan Zazzo. My first overreaction, Jared Goff should be in the MVP conversation. I don't care how good the team is. It's a quarterback award. In terms of quarterbacks playing well, he's got 9 interceptions. I understand that. He had 4 interceptions in the first 3 weeks. He had 5 a week ago. Other than that, near perfect football. 4 games of 140 plus passer rating or more. The other 4 to actually do that were all MVP caliber and candidate quarterbacks. He should be in the conversation. Jared Goff should be in the MVP vote in my book. Maybe not number 1, but should be in the conversation.
Sticking to the same cloth of the MVP conversation, Colin, my MVP, and this is why it's called Overreaction Monday. He's not in the conversation because his team stinks right now. But my MVP is Joe Burrow. 356 passing yards and 3 touchdowns at Los Angeles. 428 passing yards and 4 touchdowns. No interceptions at Baltimore. He does not have interceptions in the last 2 weeks. Oh, and by the way, 3 weeks ago, the game at home versus Las Vegas where they won 41-24, 5 touchdowns, 250 yards, and only 1 interception. Joe Burrow leads the league in passing yards with over 3,000 yards. If the Bengals were competent on defense and were 7-4, like they should be if they win some of these close games, Joe Burrow would be the MVP. It wouldn't even be a conversation. Obviously, Lamar Jackson would make it a conversation. But on Overreaction Monday, Joe Burrow is my MVP. His team stinks, though.
C-Cat.
You guys talked MVP. And Zaz and you guys talked about it last week, even before the Steelers beat the Ravens, that Mike Tomlin was going to win Coach of the Year. Nah, different AFC coach. Jim Harbaugh should win Coach of the Year. He's turning a 5-win team in all of 2023. So what, they got 7 wins already this year? You were seeing a cause and effect by the mere presence of Jim Harbaugh.
Old khaki pants,
He's definitely going to get votes. He absolutely should. Talk about a turnaround. Being able to bring in a culture changer like that. I know you're a Harbaugh guy because you like John, but both of them, fantastic coaches.
Yeah, I mean, Mike Tomlin was there last year, and the year before that, and the year before that, he got a better quarterback this year. And now, what did the Chargers get that's different from last year?
They were very injured last year, but I understand the point, yeah. They beefed up the right spots. That team is under... I was not sold on them at all because of that schedule, but that win showed me a lot yesterday.
I mean, if Jim Harbaugh wins Coach of the Year this year, Talk about coaches all the time, just in the sport of football.
Well,
how many people can say what Jim Harbaugh can say about his
win a
resume?
national nobody can say that. Win a national title, go to the NFL, which is usually a death sentence for college coaches, and immediately succeed.
Cheat his way to a title, but that's an angry Buckeye fan speaking.
I wouldn't call it
cheat his way to a title.
Everybody does it, but I understand.
No, for sure. That's just a bitter Buckeye fan.
Yeah.
What, Colin, give us number 2.
Number 2 for me, I'm going to shift to the college side of things. Now, I'm doing it not because of Ole Miss, but I'm doing it because of what I saw from Florida. Florida's going to beat Ole Miss on Saturday.
Wow. Dude, I'm all for that.
That defense
I am so for
is
that.
suffocating. And I know LSU is hit or miss, and it's all matchups in the SEC. So if it's all matchups, what needs to work? For the Ole Miss side, they need to protect Dart. What is Florida good at? They're good at getting to the quarterback. I love that defense. Lagway has got some stones. I think this team, it's in Florida. This is not going to be an easy game. There's going to be a lot of pressure on Ole Miss to churn out this victory here. A 12 o'clock game in Gainesville. I like this. Coming off a huge win for Ole Miss. Florida, watch it. Elimination game there. Florida's going to win it.
My overreaction, I think the Buckeyes blow out Indiana. I don't think this game is going to be close. I was with my tail between my legs against Penn State. I'm done fanning scared. Indiana hasn't played anybody all year. I love that they put up 40 points. I totally respect that. But at the same time, they struggled against a Michigan team because I think they saw the name on the jersey, Colin. It had nothing to do with how good the team was. They saw the name on the jersey. This is in Columbus. I think Ohio State's going to be able to win by, when I say a blowout, 2 touchdowns. And I think that'll end Indiana. And I think that SEC team, whoever it may be, Tennessee, sneaks in because of it.
Perhaps. I think that's the golden number. I think Vegas hit it right on the head. I think that spread, it's 12.5 in favor of Ohio State. I think that is the number that determines whether Indiana gets into the playoff or not. That 12.5, whoever covers will determine if Indiana gets into that college football playoff or not. I think that's a fair number. I give Vegas credit. But one thing I'll say to that, no 5th team in the country should be 12-point underdogs against another top 5 team. That just tells you that they're not the top 5. That they're not a top 5 team in the country. That's what that tells you. That was Overreaction Monday, presented by Hard Rock. Bet, go try it today. Get $100 back in bonus bets if that first bet does not win. It's offered by the Seminole Tribe of Florida. Must be 21 plus and physically present in Florida to wager. Terms and conditions apply. Concerned about gambling? Call 1-888-ADMIT-IT. Well, our youth team is 0-2.
Boy.
0 wins, 2 losses. Played again over the weekend, and we had 3 guys show up. We picked up a 6th grader in the stands, and to his credit, he was a baller.
Was he good, Kyle?
He was the best player on the team.
By the way, I was at Kaiser, was not there on Saturday.
We lost 0-2. I want to talk about the man who put me in this position. Steve Politziner, Good Karma Brands president. We'll talk to him next on Russo Rizzo, ESPN 106.3.
Live from the Anajar and Levine Accident Attorney Studios. Anajar and Levine Accident Attorneys. Call 1-800-747-FREE. This is ESPN 106.3.
Good people, it's Theo Dorsey. Spring training 2025 at Roger Dean Chevrolet Stadium is approaching pretty quickly. Season tickets, mini plans, and group tickets are now available for the St. Louis Cardinals and Miami Marlins 2025 spring training games. Individual tickets go on sale November 19th. Visit our website at RogerDeanChevroletStadium.com or stop on by the ticket office. We can't wait to see you at the ballpark in 2025.
Hi, I'm attorney Robert Rubenstein, and this is Rubenstein's Rules for Personal Injury. Rule number 1, get an attorney. When you or a loved one have been injured by another's negligence, an experienced attorney can make a huge difference. At Rubenstein Law, we will find all of the insurance, make sure your injuries are documented, and work to get you the best result. While each case is different, a well-known insurance company's own study showed people with a lawyer, on average, got more money. Call Rubenstein Law at 1-800-FL-LEGAL. Offices in Palm Beach and throughout Florida.
Hey everyone, it's Cade Shumslin. Every week, Land Rover Palm Beach supports local student athletes as they grow on the field, in the classroom, and in the community by naming a Player of the Week. This year, $35,000 will be rewarded to student athletes and their schools. Tune in to ESPN West Palm High School Game Day every Friday night as I unveil this week's featured athlete. If you have a great performance that I need to know about, DM us at ESPN West Palm, Land Rover Palm Beach, above and beyond.
Habitat for Humanity of Greater Palm Beach County invites you to rediscover the Restores. Donate your new and gently used items or shop for great deals up to 60% off every day. Sales of donated items help Habitat for Humanity partner with local families to build and repair safe and affordable homes in our community. They are now offering easy online scheduling and faster pickup times. Schedule today with any of their 5 locations or visit habitatgreaterpbc.org to learn more. That's habitatgreaterpbc.org.
This Thanksgiving, don't let extra pounds steal your joy. At HexisMD.com, enjoy the feast without fear of calories sticking around. They offer semaglutide and trizepatide. No insurance needed. Picture yourself feeling lighter and more energized. Give yourself the gift of confidence and health this holiday season with HexisMD. Join thousands already transforming their lives. Visit HexisMD.com today. That's HEXISMD.com. Your partner in a healthier, happier you. Use discount code ESPN50 for 50% off your first order.
Let's get back to the Anajar and Levine Accident Attorney Studios. This is Russo and Rizzo on ESPN 106.3.
Tis the season. We're now in the thick of November, entering the holiday season. Just a week till Thanksgiving. It's crazy to think that that's just coming up pretty shortly here, but it's also Christmas coming up shortly after that due to it being a late Thanksgiving this year. It's Russo and Rizzo on ESPN 106.3. Colin Russo, Mike Rizzo, Christian Cat, of course, behind the glass. Mike and I will be getting into our Christmas spirit this coming Thursday. Mike can tell you all about it.
Ho, 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 ho. Get ready to celebrate at CP Group's 9th annual tree lighting holiday extravaganza, Thursday, November 21st from 5:30 to 7:30. As Colin said, we will be on site as well. We will do our show from 4 to 6 at Brick, the Boca Raton Innovation Campus in Boca Raton. Once again, guys, the 9th annual tree lighting and holiday extravaganza, Thursday, November 21st, 5:30 to 7:30 at Brick, the Boca Raton Innovation Campus in Boca Raton. Get ready for a magical evening filled with holiday cheer with all of the holiday moments. Exciting meet and greets with Santa and his live reindeer. Santa's workshop and delightful kid-friendly tented areas for holiday-inspired activities. Enjoy face painters and festive arts and crafts activities by Boca Raton's Historical Society and Museum with painters and festival arts. There's always something to do this night, folks. Let's get on out there November 21st, 5:30 to 7:30 at Brick, the Boca Raton Innovation Campus in Boca Raton. Colin and I will be on site 4 p.m. to 6 p.m. as well. We will see you there.
Don't miss that. I alluded to it earlier. Youth basketball team, 7th through 10th graders, coaching in a local league. Mike and I are 0-2. Bad start. Let's loop in the expert. Steve Palazzino, Good Karma Brands president, Palm Beach Sports Commission Hall of Famer, presented by PNC Bank, joining Russo and Rizzo now. Mr. Palazzino, how are you doing today? What's going on?
Uncle Steve.
Sounds like better than you guys. 0-2. Ooh.
Wow. Now he's rubbing salt in the wound.
All right, so let me
here.
ask you this. For those who don't know, Steve is a head honcho, if you will, on the board of these leagues, so he knows all these guys. Have you heard any whispers about how the Hornets and Russo and Rizzo's team have come about from other coaches? Yes, or have you heard anything? Yes or no?
There was definitely some side talk about, are we going to have to keep an eye on these guys? Are we doing the kids some injustice? But I'm getting you guys back. You know, I brought you in this league, so I'm going to stick with you. If we need to, I haven't heard from any parents.
Hold on. Wait, what are you alluding to? Are we
getting fired?
What are you alluding to there?
That coaches we want to make sure the kids have the best experience, and we're counting on you guys to put in a system. I mean, we know you guys have deep sports connections. Lots and lots of people that hopefully you'll get the kids starting to respond because you have a good team, So where do you point the finger right now?
Steve. No, Steve. No, not saying that. All I'm saying is I think jury's out on what the identity of the team needs to be. I don't think we've figured that out yet.
And Steve, it didn't help. Obviously, only 3 guys showing up. Obviously, there was some bar mitzvahs over the weekend and whatnot where they were busy. And Steve, I'm the number one culprit. I was at Kaiser football on Saturday. I wasn't even able to do the team pictures with the guys. So I'm planning on making up for that tomorrow at practice and over the weekends with our games.
Yeah, I mean, where are your priorities? No, your priorities should be to your full-time job. So being able to do the Kaiser game is where you should be. And,
right.
You guys will work it out. It's a long season. It's a long season.
Now, any advice?
We only get to the dog days of December.
Steve, any advice? Because we had I heard we had a situation on Saturday where there was a hard foul and a coach got angry with Colin, and I
fouled him.
He handled it. Uncle Steve, if I'm being honest, with what I heard, what this coach said to Colin, I probably would have said something to him worse than what Colin said. So we could use some advice as far as that.
I did not hear that, but remember, you're also a role model to these kids.
Absolutely.
So you want to model the proper behavior. But yes, people get a little heated, but I think if sound like you use some mature restraint, Colin.
Yeah,
so
Colin did. Colin did, because I definitely would have said something.
Here's the rundown. Here's what happened on Saturday. I'm not going to get into the coach stuff because there's nothing there. But from what happened, we showed up, picture day, told everybody, hey, make sure you're at the game, plenty of updates, did the right things as coaches should do. I didn't spam everybody's email. I didn't call people individually. I know that's your way of thinking with being a youth basketball coach. I think that's a little crazy. That's just my opinion. But we had the guys show up.
Call everybody individually. I sent a group text. A game changer.
Right. Don't you call the parents if the kid's not going to show up and you're like, where are you?
Oh, I text the parents through Game Changer if they have an RSVP'd, of course. But I mean, that's basic. That's what.
Is it basic? I don't know if that's basic.
Steve, that's big.
I don't think that's basic. But point is, show up, picture day. You got the guy outside. They're setting up. They got the little lighting thing. We're out in the outdoor basketball courts at a local middle school. I show up, and there's 3 guys there. And I was expecting a couple guys to be out. I wasn't expecting 3 guys total. So we're waiting. We're like, all right. I tell the photographer, I'm like, let's just knock these out. So we take a team picture. It's me and 3 guys. So all of a sudden,
God.
you
we
come.
got to do makeup picture day for you guys.
Disagree. I like that. That's funny. But what I did, we walked into the gym. The opposing coach, I recognized him from one of the previous games, so I introduced myself again. I go up, my coach, listen, I'm going to be real with you. I got 3 guys. How do you want to handle this? There's a couple options. My guys know a couple kids in the stands that are a part of the league, playing different teams or down a league. I could go ask them. There's 2 guys up there. And I guess he thought I was going to pull in some Division I transfer off the trading block and get in some ringer because he immediately shot that down. He's like, no, we can't do that. Can't do that. I'm like, I don't think you can look around. I don't think LeBron's sitting up in the stands. I that's number 1. But then he offers me, he's like, I'll give you 2 of my guys. So my mind immediately goes, I'm going to get 2 of the worst players on their team, and he's just going to stick me with the guys who carry water. But he and actually, to my surprise, gives me 2 kids who played the best at amongst anybody on the team, and including
one of them being his son.
His son, who is in 6th grade. We pull his son out of the stands. I'm like, you're playing on my team. This kid was Matt Dellavedova all over. This kid he was great. He probably had 20 points.
That kid's actually on my team. He's the best player on my team. I'm in a grade down. I'm in a league below you guys. I'm
Steve,
in the 5th, 6th league.
Can we work a deal out?
Yeah, Steve.
Can we work a 2-way contract? Can we work a deal out here?
We need a 2-way contract.
Can we get in soccer, Steve, they call them loans. Maybe we give you, go 60-40 on the wages.
I have already been working on a loan situation for you guys today. I mean, in between my real life.
Absolutely.
But, I truly have been working on a loan situation for you guys.
Thank you.
That I'm sure no one listening cares about, but I will talk to you about it.
Okay, interesting. Well, now we're 0-2, and we got a lot of work to do. So we got 2 games this week. We'll see what happens.
Got to win one of those 2 before the holiday break.
Oh,
God, putting the pressure on us,
0-4
man.
the holiday
Steve.
break. I'm not going to go home, and I'm going to have to practice every single day. That's what's going to happen. So we're moving on with that.
0-4 the holiday break. It may be longer than a holiday break for you guys.
So, wait, Steve, guys get fired? You fire people in this league?
Yeah.
We're going to get fired?
We're really going on a break, huh? We're really going on a break.
Fired, huh?
Yeah, Steve, you could fire us if you want to. Listen, if Doug Peterson can survive, I'm sure Mike and I can after a couple games here. But
oh yeah, I was thinking about you yesterday.
Oh God,
I was listening to you yesterday morning. You said you want to see them get destroyed.
It's the second week in a row where I said this last week we'll see a Doug Peterson in Jacksonville, and it looks like I'm wrong again. He had a presser today. But nonetheless, Steve Palatino, Good Karma Bread's president, and Palm Beach Sports Commission Hall of Famer, presented by PNC Bank on Russo and Rizzo. Now, Steve, let's shift to the Giants. We haven't talked about it yet. Daniel Jones, not just demoted to QB2, demoted to QB3. Tommy DeVito is going to get the starting nod next week with Drew Lock backing him up. This is a goodbye and good riddance to Daniel Jones. Let me ask you this before we get into the actual, what the move itself. Is this the last we will see of Daniel Jones being a starting quarterback in the NFL?
Well, as a starter, yeah, he'll play because, you always need a second quarterback.
Yes.
People are going to get hurt. I've said before all year, Daniel Jones is going to win a Super Bowl as a backup on the Lions one day or on the Ravens one day or on the Texans one day because he does a lot of things well, just not well enough to be a starter getting paid $40 million. 3-13 since his new contract. It's over. It's done. And the third string demotion was also financial to make sure there's no chance the Giants are going to have to, one, pay him, or two, give him any kind of momentum should he have to play. Again, I like the third string move. I was surprised on DeVito, but let's remember, Drew Lock stinks also. Drew Lock stinks. That's why they brought Drew Lock in, so he wasn't a threat to Jones because they gave Jones $40 million instead of giving the money to Saquon. So they didn't want to they didn't want to look bad. You don't bring like a good backup in when you've just put all your eggs in that guy's basket. And this is where they are. I'm a Giants fan. And it's pathetic. But at least they're moving on. It's time.
Steve, Colin and I have had a lot of heavyweight fights here talking quarterbacks, who's still relevant, who needs a quarterback, yada, yada, yada. As a Giant fan, what do you want the Giants to do at the quarterback position in the offseason?
Turn back the clock and sign Saquon. That's the first thing I want the Giants to do. Turn back the clock a year and a half.
Saquon, Wildcat quarterback.
Okay. So, no, what you need to do right now is before you decide on a quarterback, you need to decide on the front office. Is Brian Daboll going to be there? If Brian Daboll is going to be there, then get a veteran quarterback who might be available next year. We've all seen these stories before. The Sam Darnold, the Baker Mayfield, the Geno Smith, the reclamation, somebody who's good, not great, somebody who maybe some circumstances happen, and decide. If they're sitting at the number 2 pick, which they would be at right now, and they're going to end up with the Shedeur Sanders, then Daboll's going to feel the pressure. I got to play him because I got to save my own job, and we're just doing the same thing over and over and over again that so many teams are looking at right now. Teams like the Bears, teams that are constantly in this turnstile because the coach isn't aligned with the quarterback.
Yeah, it's never the same.
Regime didn't even draft him. Current Giants regime didn't even draft Jones. They got stuck with Jones, but then they were the dummies that decided to keep him.
So you want a veteran quarterback that Daboll can play immediately and let a quarterback come in and sit behind him. That's what you want.
Correct. If Daboll has job security, then that's what I want. If it has to try to catch lightning in a bottle, then that's a different story. Well, but yes, I think, and the one thing I like about Daboll is really the team hasn't quit on him.
No, they play hard for him. There's no doubt about that. That's probably why he's staying.
Yeah, and watching these last years of the Giants, they quit on Pat Shermer. They quit on Joe Judge.
They quit on McAdoo.
Under Daboll. Yep. So I still like Daboll. I like Daboll more than I like Shane. But it's a bummer when you're a fan of teams like this when you're in this situation.
I mean, what's the worst situation right now? You're in the Giants, the Jets, the Bears. Are the Giants the best of the three?
I mean, don't you put the Browns in there, too?
Browns? Put the Jags in there, too. Of those 5, are the Giants the best of those 5?
Giants,
Jets, Browns, Bears, and Jags.
Jags are probably the worst.
No. I'll butt in there. Definitely not.
I mean, Trevor Lawrence is a good prospect still.
They had the best quarterback of the bunch.
And then as far as
but I feel like there's so many other problems.
And then if I could get in here, boys. I mean, Are we sure? Or like, what do we think of Caleb? Like, the Bears have Caleb Williams, guys, #1 pick.
Yeah.
I don't think the Bears arguably should even be in this conversation if they get a competent head coach. I think the Browns are the worst because of the contract with Watson, personally. This is
Browns are going to take a long time.
Yeah, Steve,
and they're going to have to trade their and they're going to have to get rid of their decent parts just to start back at zero.
Right. So I think because of the quarterback contract with Watson and how bad he is, it's probably my Brownies. But
Steve, do you think
the Giants have a few pieces?
Yeah,
few pieces on defense.
And Shane just had a good draft. And Shane just had a good draft. Tyrone Tracy's a good pick. You had Malik Neighbors, who's now in the mix. You have a good defensive line. Shane has done a pretty good job there in that draft.
Oh, Johnson, the tight end, looks good. They have good DBs. Obviously, they're going to run. I mean, they're never going to get there with Lawrence. Like, they're never going to turn around. But their D-line, Thibodeau, on paper, good. Burns, he's underwhelmed so far.
Yeah,
but,
totally.
There's a lot there. It's a shame they didn't have a quarterback because they could have fought in a crummy NFC East. But, those are the choices they made.
Steve, last thing here before we let you go. Soto, we haven't talked about it in a couple weeks. It sounds like the Yankees are not in the driver's seat on that, to say the least. Where do you think he's going to end up playing baseball next year?
I think it's the Mets. And
I'd agree with that.
I think we knew. I think it was not only was it deflating the way when the Yankees lost in the World Series and how they lost, but it wasn't even 15 minutes. And sometimes you catch a player in that emotional moment, like they're with all their comrades, their buds, like, I would love another run at this. Soto was already prepared. Like, Boris had the statement in his hand.
Right. Confetti's still falling, and he's still got his jersey on. Yeah, it's unbelievable.
They hadn't even had their post-team meal.
Yeah.
And he was already lining up meetings in California with everybody and their brother. But it just feels like the Red Sox aren't real. It feels like, any other names you've heard just aren't real.
That's just Boris trying to prop up the price. Record. Yeah, they're just trying to prop up the price.
Yep.
Steve,
totally. I'm with you.
Yes, Steve, I appreciate you joining us as always. We'll talk next week, and hopefully our team can turn it around in youth basketball.
If you need me to come consult at a practice, let me know.
I don't know if we'll need that, but we'll keep you in mind. That's Steve
Thanks,
Collins,
Steve.
Senior, Good Karma Brands President, Palm Beach Sports Commission Hall of Famer, presented by PNC Bank on Russo and Rizzo right there. We'll close out the program, give our Monday Night Football picks presented by Hard Rock Bet. Stick around for that. It's Russo and Rizzo on ESPN 106.3.
Live from the Anajar and Levine Accident Attorney Studios. Anajar and Levine Accident Attorneys. Call 1-800-747-FREE. This is ESPN 106.3.
Anajar and Levine Accident Attorneys at 1-800-747-FREE. 1-800-747-FREE. Listen, if you're in an accident, car accident, truck accident, slip and fall, trip and fall, injured on the job, workers' comp issues, call Anajar and Levine Accident Attorneys. They will fight for you. They do not get paid unless you get paid, and they will fight to get you the maximum compensation that you know that you deserve. Do not deal with the insurance companies on your own. That's impossible. They make it as such. Anajar and Levine will help you to take back control of your life. Again, you'll always talk about your case with an actual attorney. They answer the phone 24 hours a day, 7 days a week to help you to take back control of your life. Call 1-800-747-FREE, 1-800-747-3733. Car accidents, truck accidents, slip and fall, trip and fall. Call Anajar and Levine, my accident attorneys. Anajar and Levine, accident attorneys. Take back control of your life.
Tired of being sidelined by a sports injury? Get back in the game with Baptist Health Orthopedic Care. Whether you're a professional athlete or even a weekend warrior, you can get back to doing what you love with our compassionate orthopedic team. Experience a new level of care and get back to your best. Welcome to being treated like a pro. Make an appointment today at baptisthealth.net/ortho or call 833-556-6764.
This Thanksgiving, don't let extra pounds steal your joy. At HexisMD.com, enjoy the feast without fear of calories sticking around. They offer semaglutide and trizepatide. No insurance needed. Picture yourself feeling lighter and more energized. Give yourself the gift of confidence and health this holiday season with HexisMD. Join thousands already transforming their lives. Visit HexisMD.com today. That's HEXISMD.com. Your partner in a healthier, happier you. Use discount code ESPN50 for 50% off your first order.
Hey, golf fans, Colin Russo here. Looking to improve your game? Flagstick Golf Performance, the ultimate indoor golf experience, is now open in Boynton Beach. With 3 indoor simulators and a state-of-the-art putting studio, Flagstick helps players at all levels up their game. Get lessons from experts, try the latest clubs, or just come up for a round on the simulators. You can track your stats and see real improvement. Flagstick is where serious golfers and beginners find their edge. Bring your friends or family and enjoy golf like never before. Visit flagstickgolfperformance.com to book your session.
Let's get back to the Anajar and Levine Accident Attorney Studios. This is Russo and Rizzo on ESPN 106.3.
It's the middle of November, entering into turkey season. Now full fall beard weather. I'm doing a No Shave November for the 9th annual YLS No Shave November fundraising event. It's begun. It started not only to bring more awareness to men's cancer issues, but also to raise money for the Cancer Alliance of Help and Hope, which is an amazing local nonprofit organization right here in Palm Beach County. Of course, from November 1st and up until a live shave-off happy hour event, which is on December 3rd from 5:30 to 7 p.m. at the iBar in PGA National. I'll be getting a professional shave. Then raising money for the cause. It's for cancer patients right here in the Palm Beach County area. So if you want to consider donating, please, I'd be very appreciative. Text MEN9, MEN9 to 71777. That's MEN9 to 71777. If you want to donate to my personal page, raising money for a great cause. And the beard's coming in. Not bad.
Yeah.
We're getting there.
C-Cat, it's time for a hashtag beard check.
Don't loop me in with that. That's a you thing. That's not an us thing.
It's pretty good.
Now that we got time,
Colin, it's pretty good, man.
Yeah, it's getting there. It's getting there. It's got a whatever. It's a little light on the sides.
But it's C-Cat. Why don't you want to be looped into the hashtag beard check? What's wrong with that?
You know what? It just feels sticky to me.
Why? What do you
That's
mean?
a you thing. That's a you. You know, you should be proud of it. I don't want to take credit for it. It's you.
Come on, man.
Let's get a little late. Little 5 and 5.
Number 1.
Well, the Chiefs finally lost their first game of the season to the Buffalo Bills on CBS yesterday. If these two teams meet in the playoffs, can the Bills get over the hump and win another?
I think yes, because I think the Bills showed that, head-to-head, a lot more talent than the Chiefs, and they could operate offensively a whole lot better than the Chiefs can. Now, the Chiefs are the experienced bunch. They're the dangerous bunch. They're the winners. But to that point, I think offensively, the Bills showed me a whole lot, especially going for it on 4th down there, not kicking that field goal and giving Mahomes a chance. It's almost like they've learned from their mistakes. We're going to do this. And I know home field, a lot of things went their way. Chiefs were probably due to lose. Maybe I'm just blown into mirrors at this point, and it's just going to be the Chiefs all over again. But I think if there's a year to do it, it might be this year for the Bills.
I got to see it to believe it. I'm with you. We had Jonathan Zaslow on from the Zaslow Show 2.0. You go back and listen to that, wherever you get your podcasting. But I'm with Zaz. I got to see it to believe it. I still think the Chiefs are probably going to win the Super Bowl. I know I picked the Niners before the year. By the way, how awful does that look? But I got to see. Got to see it to believe it. It's that simple for me.
They're not afraid of the Chiefs, and that's very valuable. We've seen one-sided rivalries in the past where you can just see a different
Something always
style of
happens.
play.
Can I get butt in real quick? Colin, similar to how cursed my football team is, something always happens to the damn Bills. Something always happens to that football team. They never get over the hump. If it's the 90s,
they got to break through a bit of a curse.
It's like, I got it. You got to see it first before I can make a proclamation.
Yeah. The one thing I'll say, to your point, we talked about it earlier in the season, and I think it was the Falcon game they did that. Some teams get a little over-aggressive with the Chiefs because they feel like they have to overcompensate because it's the Chiefs. The Bills didn't necessarily feel like that. Them going forward on 4th down and trying to clinch the game with a touchdown didn't necessarily feel like we had to be over-aggressive it's out of our, this is out of character for us. But since it's the Chiefs, we have to do it. This felt like, no, it's within taking. We're going to do this. We're not going to give you the ball back with a chance to win. It almost felt a little bit more punch for punch instead of trying to punch above your weight class, which is what everybody else feels like playing the Chiefs.
They've played them a lot in high leverage situations. They know what they have to do. I could argue the Buffalo Bills know how to beat the Chiefs more than any team in the NFL. They just haven't been able to do it in crunch time and when it matters in the playoffs.
They're going to have to harness some magic. Number 2.
Number 2.
Well, the Baltimore Ravens lost to the Steelers yet again. It's been 1,870 days since Lamar and the Ravens beat Pittsburgh. How does Lamar get past that dark cloud following him when it comes to the Chiefs and most important team the Ravens place all season, the Steelers?
Yeah, this is you're a Raven fan, so I'm curious in your perspective on this as well, because it has been a dark cloud that has followed him in a big game. Lamar is great when he is great against certain teams. It's very strange. And then for some reason, the 2 to 3 teams, Chiefs and Steelers included, it's almost like he just comes back down to reality. They got his number. And whether it's a personal thing, a mental thing, or just a game planning thing, Lamar's going to need to figure out how to be one or both in a big high leverage spot in the playoffs for him to advance, not even win, advance to a Super Bowl. And then the Super Bowl is a whole other problem if the Lions are there. So that's my problem with that.
Yeah, I'm with Colin on this, Christian. Before we let you go here as our household Raven fan, it's never going to end until it happens in the playoffs. He'll get some flowers if it's in the regular season, one of these seasons, but we're already towards the end of the year. You're not, and do they play him again?
Yeah.
Yes. That week before Christmas.
You're going to get some flowers if you win in the regular season, but Colin's right. The only thing that matters is the playoffs. And I hate that I got to say this because, actually I don't because I can't stand the Ravens. That's my football team. AFC Championship game. Chiefs didn't score a touchdown, and they won it in the second half, and they won the game still. So, not going to change until they get to the playoffs. Go ahead, Christian.
It was an unlucky game. So I'd chalk it up as Justin Tucker missed 2 field goals he should have hit.
He's got the yips. Straight up.
I think he's just deteriorated.
Can I be
this
honest?
has been a thing for
time.
a couple weeks now.
It's about time that guy has the yips.
He'll be a special teams assistant in 2025, and he will help draft the next Justin Tucker.
You think he's done?
Got 1 year left in his deal.
I would imagine he wants to end on a higher note than whatever this is.
Christian,
I mean, you gotta hit the high note,
yeah, right. You're the reason we're not at the high note.
I mean, hey, this is Justin Tucker. He's a opera singer. Yeah. He should hit the high note.
I'm going to help you on that unlucky point you just made. How the hell does it say Flowers catch that ball? Who's 43? Who didn't come down with that catch and it got ripped out of his hands?
That is not Elvis Dumervil, as you alluded to in the first act.
He
used to wear
from the Broncos. that is Justice Hill.
Thank you.
Yeah.
He needs to come down with that catch as well. Where did I get? Who was your special teams guy a couple of years ago? Duverville.
Duvernay. You're thinking about Duvernay.
Oh, okay.
I'm sorry. I was not thinking of Elvis Dumervil, the giant edge rusher. I was thinking about the former special teams player. Yes. But to your point about unlucky, I told Colin this in the pre-show meeting. If Flowers catches that ball and that kid doesn't get the ball ripped out of his hands for an interception.
You guys love your ifs.
Colin hates
Nobody loves your ifs.
Colin, you can't have fun. You can't have fun with Colin with some what ifs.
You know what he said earlier in the show? He said if the Chiefs were not in the AFC West, the Chargers would be hosting a home game in the playoffs.
I mean, they're 7-3, Colin.
I mean, yeah.
That's like Penn State.
They're 7-3,
if my aunt had
buddy.
a beard, she'd be my uncle.
This is sports talk radio. I'm not allowed to do what ifs with this guy. What's going on, man?
I'm with you, Riz. If Penn State wasn't in the same division as Ohio State, they'd have a lot more Big Ten championship game appearances.
Right.
Penn State was in the West. So, you know what? I love ifs and buts.
Yeah.
And cherries and nuts.
Yeah, you could
Nice.
say, plenty of ifs. You go, whatever. You go to number 3.
Number 3.
What if Doug Peterson got fired this past Sunday?
Yeah, that's a big what if. He had a presser today. Can you believe that? Unbelievable.
The San Francisco 49ers are just 5-5 on the year, believe it or not. They lost to the Seattle Seahawks yesterday with this real tight NFC West wildcard race and Arizona in first place. Have the Niners lost their shot to get in the playoffs?
Colin, I want to start here because you could go ahead and do your victory lap and get your flowers from everybody in the crowd. Dude, they look horrible. And I don't know how you fix it because they're healthy. They got Christian McCaffrey back. They got a lot on that defense back. The Commanders have a significant game lead on them in the wild card spot. The other teams in the NFC as well do. I mean, they're a far off way from that 7th spot. And they just gave Arizona and everyone else in that division another game by dropping a game within the division. Partner, I don't see how San Francisco recovers. With the and with the schedule at the end of the year and how tough it is, my Super Bowl pick looks like they're not about to make the playoffs.
Yeah, in terms of losses that sting more than others, they exist, and this is definitely an example. I know they've split against the Seahawks, so it's not the worst thing in the world, but the idea is they're 1-3 now in the division. They are now facing a severe uphill battle of beating a number of divisional teams just to split. They have a ways to go and need a lot of help if they want to churn back into the playoffs. This is a costly loss against Seattle Seahawks.
Last thing, at Green Bay and at Buffalo.
And
your
Detroit.
Next 2 games.
They have Detroit still. They have Arizona to finish the year. That game will be for a divisional spot for Arizona in a lot of ways. They're in a lot of trouble.
Quickly, at Packers, at Bills, home versus the Bears, home versus the Rams, at Miami, home versus the Lions, at the Cardinals.
Not an easy schedule. They're in a lot of trouble. I would put my money in favor of them not making the playoffs at this point, but you never know. Number 4.
Number 4.
Well, we talked about it last segment. Daniel Jones has lost his starting spot to not Drew Lock, who they signed in the offseason, but to Tommy DeVito. Is Jones done as a starter in the NFL?
I think yes. I don't think any team is going to want to pick him up in order to start. If you're talking about a veteran that you need to go pick up, a la Sam Darnold, a la Baker Mayfield, Daniel Jones is not going to be a call you make. He might, improve to a starter, sitting behind somebody in an injury, but I think his days actually being trusted to lead a football team are over. He was given 6 years. He's won 20 games. I think that they are a goodbye. See ya, you made your money. You played hard enough. You just didn't necessarily have the talent, didn't put it all together. Move our separate ways. Go be a perennial backup somewhere and enjoy that money you made. I think we are done seeing Daniel Jones start for an NFL team.
He'll never be a franchise quarterback again, but he could certainly be a bridge quarterback and start some games in the league if someone's in the mix of not liking someone in the NFL draft and not happy with their current situation. I think that's the only way he starts, and I think he'll be a good backup. So I'm with Colin. Never be a franchise quarterback again. Could be a starter on some fluke stuff if a team needs a bridge quarterback before they draft their franchise quarterback, and he's going to be a backup.
Number 5.
Well, with this past college football weekend coming and going, have the paths to the auto bids and buys opened up?
Yeah, a little bit. I mean, everybody was in on BYU. BYU was begging to lose last couple of weeks, escaping that Holy War game against Utah. BYU has been begging to lose for quite a bit, and they finally faced it. And now they got another tough game because Arizona State is hot. And Dillingham has that team ready to play Arizona with the kid who transferred. It's losing me. Transferred for somewhere. The quarterback. But Arizona State is not going to be an easy game for BYU there. And Colorado, of course, is playing some of their best football now. That Big 12 is wide open. SMU won again, too. Boston College made them sweat a little bit. Played better than I thought they would, especially after Castellanos left. But that SMU team can compete with Miami. I'm pretty certain of that. And it's because they don't necessarily get in their own way. But I think that those SEC, even SEC, we talked about that plenty throughout the show. SEC, Big 12, and the ACC, those auto bids and that buy are wide open.
I also think that the Big 10 between Ohio State and Oregon, everyone kind of crowned Oregon the greatest team ever.
It's hard to beat a team twice.
I think Ohio State wins the Big 10. I think I'm with you on we said this earlier with Zazzle. I think Alabama probably wins the SEC championship game, and God only knows what's going to happen in the Big 12. ACC, if Miami doesn't win the ACC, shame on them, by the way. And Colin, I think the quarterback for Arizona State, what is it, the Leavitt kid from Michigan State?
That's right.
The transfers from Sparty.
Yes.
So
and he didn't do anything for Michigan State, but he transferred in.
To your point, I think that's going to be a huge game over the weekend as well.
It's an elimination game, straight up, because Arizona State can still win that Big 12.
Yeah.
They have the tiebreaker, and they're going to get that spot if they win this game.
Yep.
So that is another elimination game that we are seeing in week 13 of the college football season.
And things are opening up for Colorado.
Let's give our Monday Night Football picks quickly, presented by Hard Rock Bet. Monday Night Football tonight between the Cowboys and the Texans. Cowboys, of course, trot out there with Cooper Rush, of all people. He's always in the mix there. But in Dallas at AT&T Stadium, no glare. Texans are a 7-point favorite in this one. Mike, what say you?
Turn your mic on. Texans. If the Texans don't win this game, they have real issues. They're already reeling. They've lost 2 games in a row. The Texans need this game against Cooper Rush and a depleted Cowboy roster.
Yeah, the Texans have a fairly easy schedule the rest of the way. They still have to deal with the Jaguars, the Titans twice, the Dolphins, but they still have the Chiefs and the Ravens. So it's not going to be a complete walk in the park. Take your wins when you can get it. Indianapolis has an easier schedule than that. That was our Monday Night Football picks presented by Hard Rock Bet. Go download it now on the App Store. It's been a Monday edition of Russo and Rizzo. We'll be back at it tomorrow, 4 to 6 p.m. Big thanks to everybody. We'll be back at it tomorrow, ESPN 106.3.
For you at Harris Pompano Beach with the $1 million Break the Bank. It's a no-limit hold'em event that could make you a millionaire. Play at any qualifying table. Rack up 150 hours to qualify for the January 29th Break the Bank tournament. $250,000 in prizes to be awarded, plus win a seat at the World Series of Poker Circuit main event to finish it.